AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Welcome again. It's the John Kobylt Show. It's good that you're here. And we are on, like always, every day from 3 to 6. If you miss any of the show, that's what the podcast is for, John Kobylt Show On Demand. And that's on the iHeartRadio app. And we release that shortly after 6 o'clock. And again today, we are live on YouTube, live streaming. So you could join us, watch us, engage in the live chat. Maybe we'll get to answer some questions occasionally. So all that is ahead this afternoon. First things first, there's the final California governor's debate at 5:30 tonight. And in advance of that, we have the leading Republican candidate, Steve Hilton, on the line to talk. Steve, how are you?
I'm great, John. Great to be with you.
So, I mean, the polls are tightening up. How do you assess where you are, how well you're doing right now? Because you have Tom Steyer and you have Xavier Becerra on your heels. Yeah,
we're pretty happy, but it's a very, very serious moment for everyone in California to think about what we want for this state. Because while I'm leading in pretty much all the polls, there was one this week, Emerson, that usually has us a little bit lower. That had it basically a tie, a three-way tie at the top. It's basically the story of that poll. And so it's a very clear choice for everyone listening who wants to see change in California. We desperately need change. We don't have to go into all the reasons why, the insanity of these Democrat policies, the crime and the chaos and the homelessness, the taxes, the regulations, everything that makes it such a struggle to live in California. We desperately need change. We can't have another 4 years of one-party rule. But here's the reality. There are only two change candidates in this race, myself and Chad Bianco, and only one of them has the chance to get into the top two, and that's me. And so we have to be very clear now. The ballots are out. The election is on. We are in the election. If you haven't voted yet, this is the simple message. If you want change in California, you have to vote for me. A vote for anybody else is a vote for two Democrats in the top two, and that is death to our chances of change. It's a very clear choice.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I like Chad. We've had him on the show many times, but he's fading enough in the polling that if it's accurate, he's not going to make the top two. It's just going to drain support from you, and that gives the Democrats a chance to sweep those two positions, and that would be a disaster. So I agree with you. If people who are inclined to vote for Chad Bianco and you haven't voted yet, I think you ought to go with Steve here because he's much closer to the promised land, and that's just the reality of the situation. No knock on Bianco. It's just the way things have worked out, and you really can't take a chance.
That's exactly right. I agree with everything you just said. Nothing personal. He's a strong and patriotic Californian who wants the best for our state, just like I do, just like everyone listening. But we've just got to be practical. There's not that much time. And you've got this Democrat machine. They're going to prop up Becerra. You've got Tom Steyer with all his money. He's going to be spending more. At the moment, I am leading them in most of the polls. That's the good news. But it's too close for comfort. And there's another very important factor. If you look within the polls, the details of the polls, there are many more Democrats who are undecided than there are Republicans who are undecided, according to the polls. That means that if you split the Democrat undecided votes between Becerra and Steyer, and they're the ones that are currently really at the head of the Democrat pack, that makes it even closer. And we just can't take that risk. We really can't. Imagine if we have two Democrats in the top two. It's not just the governor's race that's obviously over. It's all these other really important races. It's every congressional race. It's the state legislature. It's voter ID, because if we don't have a Republican in the top two for governor, that's going to depress the Republican vote on every other important election we have going on this year. And so this is very serious. And we got to kind of make sure we make the right choice here.
What's been resonating the best with people as you meet them on the campaign trail? What do you see them really responding to?
It's these very specific practical things that I'm going to get done for people. Your first $100,000 tax-free, vehicle registration cut below $100 per vehicle per year, just like we see in many other states. The abolition of the $800 a year small business registration fee. these simple, practical things that we can do to just help people, because it's such a struggle in California. And, my background is in business, as you know, we've discussed that. I've also worked in government at a very high level, and it's that problem-solving business mindset that we need. But I also think there's something deeper than that. There's a real energy for change. I'm really feeling it on the ground, and excitement, actually. You're seeing it with Spencer Pratt, and one of the things that I've noticed, you're seeing a lot of memes out there now, people putting myself and Spencer together. Save California, save Los Angeles, vote Hilton, vote Pratt. There's something happening in California. There's a real hunger for change. I think people on the East Coast, sometimes I do these national shows, they really miss it. They say, well, if you're in the top two and there's another Democrat, that means it's over, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. We are so desperate for change in California. They don't realize how bad it is here and how much we need change.
No, I learned this going back over 20 years ago when Schwarzenegger was running, and I'd watch him appear on national shows, and the anchors, reporters were absolutely clueless about California. And I realized that New York, Washington mindset, they have no curiosity about California, and they don't have the slightest idea, especially what we're going through now. Forget 20 years ago. Now It's far, far worse, and they don't feel it. They don't understand it. They don't know it. And so they don't highlight the issues that they should be highlighting when they talk to these Democratic candidates.
That's exactly right. And you see when they crumble, I mean, we got Becerra tonight on the stage. He's going to come under a lot of pressure, I'm sure, not just from me, obviously I will, but from the other Democrats, because he just can't take it. I mean, look at this week with KTLA interview, and he sort of doesn't want to answer tough questions. And he's trying to wheedling around with the interviewer. So, oh, you're going to be nice to me, aren't you? Like some mob boss. I'm just ridiculous. He ran away from the press after an event he did in San Francisco on Monday. These Democrats are just so used to having it all their own way in California with no checks, no balance, no accountability. They crumble when you put anything to them. And that's another reason I think that we're leading is that I'm not holding back. And we just point out that everything that's going wrong in California, we've had 16 years of these policies. And the candidates on stage with me tonight in the final debate, they're either more of the same or even worse.
Yeah, I don't hear anybody really renouncing Newsom and all his policies and all his disasters, which I find fascinating and unbelievable. You would think when you have 7 Democrats in the field, one of them would differentiate themselves by saying, well, it's not going to be more of this. But they don't.
It's amazing. They don't. They really don't, because they're all part of the same machine. I think that's the real point. Even someone like Steyer, what's hilarious about him, he keeps going on about how he's a billionaire and he does his own thing. He's been running around pandering to all the leftist interest groups in order to try and get their endorsement and their backing, the unions and all these lefty nonprofits, just like all the rest of them. They are all part of this corrupt Democrat regime and this machine that kind of propped up these people. And at the end, it really feels to me, everything, when you're looking at this race, you're looking at Becerra with all his scandals he's involved in and all the other ones that they've had, and the Swalwell thing, it has the whiff of death. The sort of dying days of a corrupt regime, and they kind of know it's over, but they're still going through the motions. It has that feel to me.
Oh, I hope so, because I've really realized in the last year or two how they created this massive machine where they take our tax money, they funnel it to nonprofits, they create entire industries that service the nonprofits or special interests in the case of high-speed rail, and then some of that money gets funneled back to the candidates through campaign contributions and God knows what else. And
exactly.
it's just a circular money pit that they're all enriching themselves from.
Why. 100%. And that's why this, you could say on the one hand, silly story about diapers blew up this weekend. And I did a social media post on it that just went crazy, because it's exactly what you just described. The government diapers scheme that Gavin Newsom announced, which is basically what you just talked about. It's like taking our money to funnel it into the nonprofits that support him politically, all under the guise of doing something to help us, when actually you could go and buy the same things, the same diapers in Target or Costco for a fraction of the price. And he wants to look good for doing it. We're sick of this nonsense.
Well, Steve, I wish you a lot of luck and enjoy the debate tonight. And I know you'll do well.
I find it fun. I find it fun taking on these Democrats.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Great to be with you.
Yeah, you look like the only one having a good time up there. All right. Steve Hilton, leading Republican candidate for governor. We'll continue with more about tonight's debate. We have in for Deborah Mark. We got Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. No Americans have tested positive for hantavirus, but 16 people are under quarantine in Nebraska after possible exposure. California's top law enforcement groups accuse Governor Newsom of refusing to fund a voter-approved proposition to reduce crime, and federal investigators in Texas are treating the deaths of 6 people in a train boxcar as a case of possible human trafficking. Southland weather from KFI brought to you by iHeartAdvertising.com. Partly cloudy today with highs in the 60s and 70s. We're going to a stall on the 405 in West LA.
This one's on the northbound side, right at Olympic. The middle lane is blocked and delays on that north 405 are loading up, leaving the 105 freeway. Beyond the scene of the stall, it's going to be crowded anyway as you continue all the way to the 5 merge into Sylmar. This wreck in Long Beach on the 710 northbound before Long Beach Boulevard. Middle lane is now blocked, so that's some progress. But huge delays continue all the way from Pico Avenue, stall in Anaheim Hills, eastbound side of the 91 coming up on Weir Canyon. Right fast track lane is blocked. Delays here, backing up all the way from the 5 with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Is your back or front yard the best part of your home? Well, it can be if you call System Pavers. And I've used them for paved driveways, synthetic turf, landscape lighting, because they simply do it right. No dead grass, no cracked concrete, no we'll fix it later projects that don't get fixed. And they don't just stop at making things look good. They build out full outdoor living spaces, barbecue islands, fire features, water features. Here's what happens. Your friends come over, take one look, and suddenly, oh, I want to do something similar. Now, that just means they're jealous. And through May 30th, System Pavers is offering free demolition and removal of your existing concrete, brick, or asphalt, and you get a recycling credit applied to your new project. Call 800-PAVE-004, 800-PAVE-004. Visit systempavers.com/KFI, systempavers.com/KFI. Website for full offer details, contractor's license 661575.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next 2 combined. Learn how podcasting can help your business at iHeartAdvertising.com.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Finish the night with indulgent favorites from Whole Foods Market. Get 2 Ben & Jerry's and Talenti frozen pints for $8 with Prime through May 26th. Mix and match your favorite flavors and toppings. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. With iHeart, everything you hear is guaranteed human. That's why 78% of listeners trust their favorite radio host's product recommendations. If you manage a business or need to drive sales, that trust goes a long way. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. Again, that's iHeartAdvertising.com.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
What if this weekend was different? What if you didn't just live with stress or anxiety? What if you actually did something about it? What if you could change your life in just 2 days? You can. At the Dianetics Seminar, based on Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, you'll learn and apply powerful techniques designed to free yourself from emotional and physical burdens holding you back. It's hands-on, and you'll put the tools to work immediately. In a single weekend, you can relieve stress, reduce anxiety, and take charge of your mental health. Make this the weekend that changes everything. Go to Dianetics.org/seminar. That's Dianetics.org/seminar.
Tim Conway Jr. How much walking a day? Do you do it you measure it in distance or in time?
I prefer time. Distance is highly variable depending on your capabilities.
This afternoon at 4 on KFI AM 640.
30 minutes, 4 days a week.
But when you say that to radio people, they want to hang up on you.
I don't know what to tell you. You asked the question. What do you want out of me?
More stimulating talk.
Hello, I'm Robert Smigel. I did lots of things. Cartoons on SNL, Conan stuff, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, some movies. But now I'm past my peak. So I'm hosting a podcast, Humor Me with Robert Smigel and Friends. Each week, me and my favorite comedians, writers, and whatnots help regular people just like you, presuming you're regular, who have some project or task that they'd like us to help make funnier.
Search Humor Me on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Hey, it's Conway Show. Today after 6 o'clock, pot store, retail. Guess what? They're coming after you for taxes. Yep, there's a store that didn't pay $7.1 million in sales tax, and I'll have all the details today after 6.
$1,000 giveaway.
Now is your opportunity to win $1,000. Yeah! Just enter the nationwide keyword on our website. WIN. That's WIN, W-I-N. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash. Brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
The word is win. Win. Enter that at KFIAM640.com/cash. And if you win, you'll get an email saying so. Check your junk and spam folder too. And there's a new winning keyword every hour, every weekday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And next chance to win with us here at 4:20 on KFI. John Kobylt Show, KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk radio. We're on from 3 to 6. And then after 6 o'clock, it's John Kobylt Show on Demand, the podcast, and we're live streaming on YouTube. We just had Steve Hilton on, and actually it's really serious. You can't trust the polls, which means you can't trust the polls. Most of them have Hilton winning by a point or two over Javier Becerra. By the way, sometimes I'll call him Javier. Sometimes I'll remember to call him Xavier, or
Javier Baccaria,
or I never got the hang of what to do with an X, right? I know it's different in English and Spanish. My brain gets confused, so pardon me. Not to mention his last name. You can see even Biden couldn't handle it. So
Javier Baccaria.
Right, Javier Baccaria. See, that makes it easy. So Hilton came on, and he's been ahead of Javier Baccaria in most polls by a point or two. And it is top two that goes on to November. There was one poll by Emerson which suggested that all three were within 2 points of each other. And, there's a margin of error from anywhere from 2 to 5 points with these things. And what I noticed with the polling, and we went through this yesterday, that in the poll for LA mayor, one of the analysts said, well, they're way overestimating the Latino vote here. The Latino vote is not going to be as high as they say. It never has been. They're underestimating the over 50 vote. That's always higher than they suspect here. So when you're dealing with a 1 point or a 2 point race, it's basically a tie. Anything goes. Here's the issue, though. If Becerra and Steyer end up 1-2 and Hilton is third, even if he's only behind by a half point, that is really, really bad. Okay? And so you finally get to a point where, I've had both Steve Hilton on and Chad Bianco on. Chad we've had on for years, the Riverside County Sheriff. And both would make really good governors. Chad Bianco, though, unfortunately, has slipped quite a few points behind the leaders. And it seems unlikely, with the voting already underway now for about 10 days, that he's going to make the top two. And I understand in our audience, there's a lot of very passionate Chad Bianco voters. And you have every right to be passionate for him. He's a great candidate. He's been a great sheriff. But I'm looking at the reality is we cannot have a Becerra-Steyer runoff in November, because both of them will continue the Newsom policies or make it even worse. Now, I know the Bianco people are probably among the most anti-Newsom, anti-Democratic voters out there. And I know some of them, from what I'm reading, are not big Hilton fans. But we have to be pragmatic here. Ideology is what destroyed the Democrats. Ideology is what's going to destroy your side as well. You can't go by ideology and demand that everybody be a purist. It's just no way to govern from any side. You got to be practical. You got to be pragmatic. It's been a good campaign. They both run well. Steve Hilton is somewhat more popular in the polling. And I just think that if you had planned to vote for Bianco, you probably should switch to Hilton, because he may need a few extra points in order to win. I don't know how you could look at it any other way. And, you know, if Hilton ends up losing by a point and Bianco has another 15 points in the bank for his candidacy, what have you accomplished here? You've accomplished making the next governor either Tom Steyer or Javier Becerra. And that makes me sick to my stomach. That makes me want to pack up and go. It does. There's got to be an end. There's got to be an end to something. Most people that I talk to don't want to live this way anymore. And I just found out this morning that our neighbor, we've lived next door to this family for probably 15 years. They're moving soon. Out! Once their last kid graduates high school, they're out. They're going to Texas. Good friends of ours, I mentioned yesterday, going to Florida. Good friend of mine, he's leaving at the end of the month to spend half a year in Maine. I mean, you know how people say everybody I know? Well, in my case, it seems like everybody I know is moving either half a year or permanently. And it's all the same thing. LA is intolerable. California is intolerable. The tax bite is too huge. Quality of life is just sucks with all the mental patients and the drug addicts running around. And how long can anybody hold out? I mean, they really destroyed the state in front of our eyes. And unfortunately, there was no critical mass to stop it. And you do need a critical mass. And right now, we can't look at having 25% for Hilton and 15% for Bianco, and then have Becerra and Steyer sneak ahead. Can't afford this. This is horrible. The place is a disaster specifically because of these progressive policies. And Bianco and Steyer are proud progressives. They don't disagree with Newsom on anything. It's the same answer that Kamala Harris gave about Biden. When she was asked, would you change anything Biden did? Nothing comes to mind. Believe me, no, I don't think anything comes to mind in Becerra's case. And there's not much going on with Steyer either. He is a weirdo. I mean, he's a rich billionaire weirdo. Did a cricket escape into the studio?
Yeah, that was in Steyer and Becerra's brains.
Well, so I at the risk of enraging Chad Bianco fans, and like I said, we had Bianco on many times. That I think at this point we got to go all Hilton on that side. You're not going to get two candidates from the Republican side in, and most of the Democrats are absolute disasters. And even the one Democrat I could halfway stomach, Matt Mahan, he isn't going to come close. What else are you going to do? You got a better solution? I don't. My only solution here is to consolidate around one candidate and then hope like hell he runs a tremendous campaign and that more people wake up. I don't know people who are comfortable with what's going on in California. So I don't know where these Tom Steyer votes come from. I mean, it comes from the left-wing elite. I guess it comes from a lot of stupid people. I really don't understand it. It is so overwhelmingly bad in the state and the city. I can't imagine not choosing somebody who talks plain common sense, like Spencer Pratt, for example. But that's a different rant. All right, when we come back, there is a scandal involving the chief of staff, former chief of staff for Javier Becerra, and the former chief of staff of Gavin Newsom. Isn't this nice? And Newsom's chief of staff is going to prison. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The CDC says 41 people are now being monitored for potential hantavirus. Officials say no Americans are positive for it at the moment, but 16 people are being monitored under quarantine at a special medical facility in Nebraska. Physician Dr. Alec Patel says hantavirus isn't nearly as contagious as COVID and other respiratory viruses.
Hantavirus really, especially with Andes virus, can only spread if you really have prolonged close contact with somebody who is symptomatic.
He says that's people who are caregivers or living with someone. Gas prices are still increasing as the war with Iran continues. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze says oil is hovering above $100 a barrel.
We are approaching the all-time high for diesel. It's now at $5.66 for diesel, which we know translates into those higher shipping costs across the economy.
In California, the price of diesel is $7.44 a gallon. California law enforcement leaders are blasting Governor Newsom's revised state budget for not funding voter-approved Proposition 36. The California District Attorneys Association, California State Sheriff's Association, and Chief Probation Officers of California say the measure is meant to reduce repeat crime and help break the cycle of addiction. A pot shop owner has been busted for alleged tax evasion in L.A., Orange, and San Bernardino counties.
On Wednesday, California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced charges against Pin Shen Shu. He ran about 30 unlicensed cannabis dispensaries in the three counties. Shu is facing 66 charges, with Bonta saying he also failed to report more than $80 million in sales between April of 2019 and December of 2022. All of the stores which didn't charge customers a sales tax have since been shut down. Daniel Martindale, KFI News.
Authorities in Texas say federal investigators are leading the case after 6 bodies were found in a train boxcar. Officials say they're treating it as a possible human trafficking case. Laredo Mayor Victor Trevino says investigators believe the victims died from heat stroke.
Based on preliminary medical reports, they did not pass away in our city, but they were discovered here after hours of suffering.
The bodies were found last week. We'll check the 91 freeway next.
If it's time to downsize, well, selling your home doesn't have to be a hassle. With Seller's Advantage, you can skip real estate agents, commissions, and costly repairs. By the time you pay for those repairs and agent fees, you could have already sold your home for a fair, competitive price. Seller's Advantage buys your home as is for cash. Here's what Chris Chavez had to say, a real Seller's Advantage customer. Seller's Advantage was definitely the best company I've worked with. They offered me more than I expected. The whole process was great. They always answered the phone, always willing to help. I can't say enough about the experience. Get your free, no-obligation offer today. Call Seller's Advantage, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, sellersadvantage.com.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 0196165 Providence Realty DRE 019152212.
Southland weather from KFI, partly cloudy today with highs in the 60s to 70s. It's 72 degrees in La Palma, 72 in Orange. We're going to a crash in Anaheim on the 91. This one's on
eastbound side, and it's coming right up on the 5 freeway. Good news, they've just cleared this wreck out of lanes. Now traffic is picking up away from Beach Boulevard and staying eastbound on that 91. We're looking at a tough drive ahead. You remain on and off the brakes as you continue all the way to Green River. I also have reports of a fender bender right around Kramer Glassell. So if you see it, pound 250, keyword KFI traffic. We're also looking at the northbound side of the 5 in Anaheim, delays from the 133 all the way to Harbor. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Therapy Thursday is now a podcast. Listen to me, Ellen Kay, Ryan Mano, and therapist Sarah Dash on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Therapy Thursday, the podcast.
Hi, this is Dave Roberts. Heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, that's a risk. That's why everyone needs a medical emergency kit at urgentcarekit.com/blue.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-764-6022. 800-764-6022. 800-764-6022.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Gold and silver recently soared to record highs, then pulled back, and they're high again. So are metals still a good buy? Well, many Wall Street experts predict higher prices ahead. And why is that? Trillions of dollars in national debt, a declining dollar, and inflation that keeps shrinking our savings. Gold remains a historical hedge for wealth protection. Call Lear Capital for a free gold kit. Call 800-225-8100. 800-225-8100. Lear Capital, 800-225-8100.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
I feel incredible because I called 1-800-WEST Medical.
American Vision Windows. Book by May 31st and save 25% off windows and doors.
Imagine a scenario where you or your loved one faces a threat. Your first instinct might be to use lethal force, but it's crucial to consider a less lethal alternative first to avoid the legal complications. Introducing Berna, Berna's less lethal launcher. This device is equipped with chemical irritants and kinetic rounds, designed to incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes, providing a critical window for you to escape. Here's a real-life account from a Berner customer named Adam. While heading to his night shift, Adam encountered a road-raging driver who swerved dangerously, stopped abruptly, and aggressively approached him. Adam dialed 911 and protected himself with his Berna launcher. He aimed the laser at the aggressor's chest, which immediately de-escalated the situation. The driver returned to his vehicle and awaited the police. That night, Berna saved 2 lives. Berna is legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, and can be conveniently shipped directly to your door. Over 750,000 units sold. Visit Berna.com. That's BYRNA.com.
Hey, follow us on all the things at KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio, the John Kobylt Show, and we're on from 3 to 6. After 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand on the podcast. Oh, and if you want to see me on my wife's podcast, it's Deborah Kobylt Live on YouTube. Deborah Kobylt Live on YouTube. And I was a guest yesterday, and it's been posted, and you can watch us talk about the mayor's race and the governor's race. That is Deborah Kobylt Live on YouTube. And we are live streaming this show all over YouTube as well. All right, so here's the latest in this this real scandal involving Javier Becerra's former chief of staff and Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff. 2 different people. And Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff is a woman named Dana Williamson. And she was in cahoots with Javier Becerra's chief of staff, Sean McCluskey. And here's the story, and this has all been documented in court. It's been in the news for months and months, but today is the day Williamson pleaded guilty. The Newsom chief of staff, Dana Williamson, pleaded guilty and to 3 counts, including bank fraud and lying and wire fraud. And she's going to get sentenced to prison. You know who's already pled guilty? Becerra's chief of staff, Sean McCluskey. So Sean McCluskey and Dana Williamson are both going to prison. There's also a third guy, a lobbyist involved. Now, here's the thing. Becerra this goes back to, I guess, 2021. He was the attorney general here. And he was going to Washington, D.C. to be a secretary in Biden's cabinet. And he wanted to take his chief of staff, Sean McCluskey, with him. But the Washington salary was less than the Sacramento salary for McCluskey. And he didn't want to make the move. Had to leave his family behind in Sacramento, and it wasn't enough money. So Williamson and another consultant came up with this scheme so he could fly back and forth between California and Washington to siphon money from Becerra's dormant campaign account. And Williamson charged Becerra's account $10,000 a month to manage it. And Becerra approved of the payments. But he never paid that kind of big price for such a job. Well, he says, well, McCluskey told me to pay him the fees. So here's how the scam worked from the way I'm reading it. McCluskey wanted more money. Becerra couldn't pay him. So McCluskey and Williamson conspired to take it out of Becerra's account. Becerra hired Williamson to take $10,000 a month out of the account and then give it to McCluskey. Becerra is claiming he didn't know anything about it, which is really hard to believe. It's his account. It's his campaign account. And he did agree to hire Williamson. And there's no reason to pay somebody $10,000 a month to manage an account where there's no action. He wasn't campaigning anymore. He'd gotten the job in Washington. There was no campaign. It was just left over. So he's claiming, oh, I didn't know. It was a gut punch. It's like being married to somebody for 20 years and finding out they're cheating. Well, why would you approve a $10,000 a month payment to manage an account that you're not using? What's there to manage? There is no management there. It's just money sitting in a bank account collecting a little bit of interest. Why would you give that away to Newsom's chief of staff, no less? And then she funneled it to McCluskey. I mean, that's the simplest way to explain it. I'm not sure that covers all the twists there, but this is how they do it. And then everybody goes, "Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know." It was $225,000. Wire fraud, conspiring to commit bank fraud. Oh, and she sent in a false tax return. Boy, she was making a lot of money. Williamson, over a 3-year period, claimed $1.7 million in business deductions. Have you seen this woman? Overfed and an alcoholic. She blew out her liver. She recently needed a liver transplant. She nearly died. And she was this big, loud bully in Newsom's office. Liked to yell at people. Described as tough. Truth is, she yelled and bullied people because nobody was allowed to disagree. Now, the chief of staff is the highest ranking staff member for any politician. That's your number one. And to have Newsom and Becerra's chief of staff both tangled up in the same scam where one was stealing money to pay it to the other, and both Newsom and Becerra claimed they had no idea what was going on. And Becerra is near or at the top of the polls for governor. What do you think the next 4 years are going to be like with him? And then you get these dumbass denials saying, I didn't know. See, they're so corrupt to their bones, they don't even care anymore. What are you going to do to them? Nobody votes them out. They never get punished. Not the candidates. I guess these chiefs of staff are going to prison. McCluskey's already pleaded guilty. Williamson has now pleaded guilty. They're going to go to prison for a couple of years. But not Newsom and not Becerra. No, instead you could have Becerra as governor and Newsom as president. Because we have a majority of idiots living in this state. Idiots. All right. Coming up after 4 o'clock, we're going to have Roger Bailey come on. And Roger Bailey is the lead attorney in the Palisades case. And a judge has issued another order for the state to release texts from California state parks employees who may have seen the early stages of the January 7th fire, the Lockman fire. They may have, that would be the Palisades fire. They may have seen some smoke swirling and didn't do anything about it and didn't tell anybody. And the state has been stonewalling any requests to look at all their text messages. We'll tell you where the case is right now. Coming up. All right. Next segment, we're going to talk with the mayor of Fresno, because he and a number of other mayors up in the Central Valley have run into some more, to me, it's corruption with high-speed rail. When they sold these towns on high-speed rail, the promise was, hey, we put high-speed rail through your town, and you're going to see your city explode in growth, right? You're going to have more office buildings, more retail, more development, more property tax money, more sales tax money. Well, now high-speed rail is saying, if we ever build this thing, you might end up with more property tax and more sales tax money from the development, but we want a chunk of that. And Fresno's Mayor Jerry Dyer said no. And so did a number of these other mayors. It's bait and switch. Like they haven't taken enough tax money from everyone. Now they want to take the new tax money that could come from the development around high-speed rail up in Fresno. We'll have Jerry Dyer come on next to talk about it. And in for Deborah Mark, and sorry once again, I misidentified you, misintroduced you.
It's okay.
Regina D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. President Trump and China's president are heading into a second round of talks tonight with trade and Iran still on the table. The top candidates for California governor are meeting for another debate tonight, and an alleged fentanyl trafficker has been arrested in Arcadia with nearly 40 pounds of fentanyl seized. We're going to some slowing on the 405 in the Sepulveda Path.
It's on southbound side, and it's backing up away from Getty Center. You remain on the brakes and stretches all the way to Palo Verde and Long Beach. The northbound side of the 405, backing up out of Culver City, leaving the 90 all the way to that 5 merge into Sylmar. You got a little opening on the other side of Devonshore, but nothing to get excited about. It's also a tough drive in Hollywood, South 101, just stopping up at Sunset Boulevard into downtown Los Angeles, and that drive on the 241 toll road. This is northbound. You're pushing back for about a little bit before the Windy Ridge Toll Plaza, heading towards the 91. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Hey, Duncan, spring is here. I'm ready to kick off the season with an offer that makes replacing windows and doors easy and affordable.
Me too. Hi, I'm Duncan Newman, owner and founder of Newman Windows and Doors. For over 30 years, we've installed top quality, energy efficient Milgard windows that keep homes comfortable and cut energy bills.
And I'm Maria Newman. We're a family-owned business delivering stress-free, impeccable installation and service that homeowners love.
Right now, buy 2 Milgard vinyl windows and get 1 Milgard window free. And don't pay a penny until 2027. Plus, for a limited time, Milgard is offering a bonus electronic gift card with every product purchase. Good at Nordstrom, Best Buy, and more. And only Newman gives you our lifetime installation guarantee.
Upgrade now and save during our spring sale. 8777-NEWMAN or NewmanWindows.com.
Restrictions apply. Financing is subject to credit approval. Call for details. License number 570472. Offer ends May 31st, 2026.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
NFL fans will have their second Christmas tonight when the league releases the schedules for all 32 teams. We know the Rams will open their season in Australia against the 49ers and host Green Bay on Thanksgiving Eve, but they're also reportedly visiting Seattle on Christmas night. USA Today linking Dodgers closer Edwin Diaz to an illegal cockfighting ring in Puerto Rico based on photos the newspaper found on social media. I'm Frank Garrett.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Are you retired or close to retirement? Last year, the S&P was up about 16%. Gold, 65%. Silver, almost 150%. Get a free information kit on adding gold or silver to an IRA or 401k, tax and penalty free. goldencrestmetals.com. 833-362-3843.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorney.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys, office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
In this edition of the Marketer's Report, Monica Tam, head of brand media for DoorDash, discusses the power of audio influencers.
Everyone can advertise and say the same thing. I think it holds different weight when it comes from somebody that you inherently trust and listen to every day. And I think when you're tapping into voices like hosts and podcasters, you're being able to be part of that community, but in a very authentic way so that it does not come off as like I'm trying to preach to you what to buy, but actually being from a position of here is how DoorDash can provide relief, or here's how we can be additive to your day-to-day.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to all the audiences, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow, and all guaranteed human. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you got to call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KRS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
After a major accident, one question comes to mind. What happens next?
That's where Wilshire Law Firm comes in. With over 100 attorneys, we've helped recover more than $2 billion for our clients. Let the firm that's been recognized as #1 in personal injury settlements fight for the compensation you deserve. That's what happens next. For a free consultation 24/7, call Wilshire Law Firm, 1-800-ABCDEFG. Wilshire Law Firm, one more top 100 personal injury settlements in 2024 than any other law firm in California, as reported by TopVerdict.com. Wilshire Law Firm is in LA.
That red talkback mic on the free iHeart app, it's more powerful than it looks. One tap can get you in the conversation.
You guys, are you serious?
Enter to win something amazing.
That $1,000
or just a request. Try it now. Just open the free iHeart Radio app.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. It's the John Kobylt Show. Welcome. We continue. We're on every day from 3 until 6 and also live on YouTube. We're doing a live stream on YouTube again, so you could watch us there. Well, it's been 17 and a half years since the majority of voters, not me, voted for the high-speed rail. And obviously, as you know, there's still no track to show for it. And having blown through $17 billion, the High-Speed Rail Authority is looking at eventually stealing more money for this. And what they want is to take property taxes from the towns that the rail line is supposed to pass through. Their theory is that these towns are going to, if this ever gets built, is going to be able to redevelop a lot of land, and that land is going to go up in value. And the property taxes would go up as well, and they want a piece of that. And a lot of mayors in the Central Valley are upset with it, including Fresno, Jerry Dyer, who we're going to have on in a moment, Merced, Matthew Serrato, Bakersfield, Karen Groh, Hanford, Mark Karras, Stockton, Christina Fagazi. They don't want the high-speed rail touching their property tax money. Let's get Jerry Dyer, Mayor of Fresno, on to talk about it.
Good to have be on the show. Appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So describe what they're going to do, what they want to do here.
Yeah, the way we learned about it, some of the big city mayors and the Central Valley mayors, was there was a 2026 draft business plan that was put together by the High-Speed Rail Authority. And within that plan, there was a what they referred to as a state-controlled tax increment financing districts that would be formed within a half mile of the proposed high-speed rail station areas. And within that half-mile area, it would give them the ability through this what's called a TIF, Tax Increment Financing District, to capture a percentage of the property tax from those businesses that are in that area, as well as potential sales tax growth in those particular half-mile radiuses. So certainly something that's very, very disturbing from the local level. We rely heavily on property tax and sales tax to be able to support some of our services like police, fire, parks, public works. In fact, 40% of the general fund is funded through property tax in Fresno, 30% sales tax. So any effort to take local dollars or to balance the high-speed rail efforts on the back of local governments is something that we're adamantly opposed to.
They got a lot of nerve. They've been telling you for years that this rail gets built, that a city like yours is going to profit from it because you'll have such an increase in developing the land and businesses near the rail stations, and that you'll make a lot of money. And now they're coming in. They want to take some of that money.
Yeah, and many of the cities in the valley, Fresno is no exception. In order to have high-speed rail built, there's a lot of grade separations that occur where they separate the railroad tracks from the traffic. And for us, it was a location between our downtown and Chinatown. And so what that meant was over this period of time where there's been construction, we've had many of our roads closed downtown for 8+ years.
Oh,
and so we're willing to endure that with the hope that in the future, at some point in time, should high-speed rail be complete, a high-speed rail station developed, that we would benefit financially, and that would be somewhat of a payback for all of the suffering that we went through in our downtown revitalization efforts. So, but now the rules are changing in the middle of the game, and we know without a doubt that what they're attempting to do is against the California Constitution by taking local revenues. And it's something that was protected back in 2004 through Proposition 1A that guaranteed that property tax allocations would remain with local governments.
Do you really think this thing's ever going to get built?
I have my doubts. I mean, I've seen a lot of effort and work done in the Valley. I mean, we were the first ones to see structures built, and there's been a lot of work done. I've yet to see the railroad tracks actually placed, although I know they've ordered them. So, I mean, I don't know if it gets built beyond the initial phase. I don't know, the initial leg, which is Merced to Bakersfield. But I know they've done some electrification work and the shared tracks in Northern California.
But how much traffic can anybody expect going from Merced to Bakersfield?
I don't think very much, quite frankly, because we have room on our freeways, but that's the first leg that they decided, probably the leg that was the most affordable. And so we'll see. I think we're into it for $17 billion in 17 and a half years. And I hope at some point in time that this project comes to fruition.
So if they keep pushing this idea of taking your property tax money, are you going to go to court and say this is unconstitutional and try to stop it?
Absolutely. I think what you'll see is collectively between a number of the mayors that we will do everything we can to prevent this from occurring in the courts. And based on the feedback I've gotten from attorneys, there's absolutely no way that they would be able to pull this off.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you very much for coming on, Jerry.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jerry Dyer, the mayor of Fresno. Can you imagine? You imagine the gall, huh? You promised these towns for years. It's like, yeah, just put up with this. We're going to close your roads for 8 years, 10 years. It's you're going to have to bulldoze businesses, but eventually rail will come through. You have a station on the rail line, and you're going to make a lot of money. All kinds of redevelopment, all kinds of new businesses, all kinds of centers are going to be constructed, office buildings, and you'll make a busload. And now they want to take the property tax money, which is illegal, unconstitutional, but this is the High-Speed Rail Authority. All right, we got more coming up. In for Deborah Mark, we have Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Summit continues. I'm Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. President Trump and his Chinese counterpart are set for a second round of talks tonight. ABC's Selena Wang says several issues remain.
We heard the Treasury Secretary say that there will be talks around, for instance, artificial intelligence, setting up guardrails, how to avoid the worst case scenario. He also said the two leaders will be talking about setting up a board of trade and investment.
That's to enable Chinese investments in the U.S. in less sensitive, non-strategic areas. Russia has fired a barrage of missile and drone attacks on Ukraine. ABC's Marcus Moore says it comes as President Trump visits Russia's ally in China.
Some have suggested that the wave of attacks signal that Russia can carry on with this war, and certainly many are hoping that President Trump could perhaps persuade President Xi to exert pressure on Russia to end this war.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says Russia's actions contradict Putin's claim that the war could be ending soon. The top candidates for California governor will debate tonight in San Francisco. Democrats Javier Becerra, Matt Mahan, Katie Porter, and Tom Steyer are expected to appear, along with Republicans Steve Hilton and Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Voting is underway with recent polls showing Becerra and Hilton leading the field. The debate starts at 5:30 and will be hosted by CBS Bay Area. California Attorney General Rob Bonta says an alleged fentanyl trafficker has been arrested in Arcadia. The suspect was caught with nearly 40 pounds of fentanyl worth about $1 million on the street. Bonta says even a tiny amount can be deadly.
And behind every seizure like this one, when we take that deadly, potent fentanyl off the streets out of our communities, are real lives that may have been saved.
He says the drugs are suspected of coming from Mexico. We'll check the 210 freeway next.
Lasting Smiles Dental Implants. We had a huge response for their April Smile special, so I got them to extend it into May. But they're only offering a limited number of spots at these prices. If you've been dealing with ugly, rotted, missing teeth, and you're waiting for the right deal, well, this is the right deal. You'll get a free comprehensive dental exam, 3D imaging, a custom treatment plan, payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. It's limited. First come, first serve. Mention KFI or John to get this incredible deal. Lock it in. LastingSmiles.com. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI. Partly cloudy today with highs in the 60s and 70s. Tonight, cloudy with lows in the 50s. It's 72 degrees in La Palma and Orange, 75 in Studio City, 66 in Santa Monica. The KFI financial report, the Dow gained 370, S&P 500 gained 57, and NASDAQ gained 233. We've got some slowing in Pasadena on the 210.
Eastbound delays from Mountain as you continue all the way to Citrus. And we're looking at that westbound side loading up out of Monrovia from Huntington Drive, heading back to the 134. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Silver is no longer just a commodity. It's a strategic resource. Demand is up, supply is tight. Experts expect prices to soar. Call Lear Capital at 800-225-8100 for your free silver report. Lear Capital, 800-225-8100.
Imagine a scenario where you or your loved one faces a threat. Your first instinct might be to use lethal force, but it's crucial to consider a less lethal alternative first to avoid the legal complications. Introducing Byrna. Byrna's less lethal launcher. This device is equipped with chemical irritants and kinetic rounds, designed to incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes, providing a critical window for you to escape. Here's a real-life account from a Byrna customer named Adam. While heading to his night shift, Adam encountered a road-raging driver who swerved dangerously, stopped abruptly, and aggressively approached him. Adam dialed 911 and protected himself with his Byrna launcher. He aimed the laser at the aggressor's chest, which immediately de-escalated the situation. The driver returned to his vehicle and awaited the police. That night, Byrna saved 2 lives. Byrna is legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, and can be conveniently shipped directly to your door. Over 750,000 units sold. Visit Byrna.com. That's BYRNA.com.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, the John Kobylt Show. And we are on KFI from 3 to 6 every day. And after 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. And that's where you listen to what you missed. I don't think I mentioned the Moist Line. It's tomorrow. How are we doing on Moist Line calls? Good? We got good? All right, we'll take more, though. 877-MOIST-86. If you're really good, you can get in. 877-MOIST-86. You're using the talkback feature on the iHeart Radio app. Roger Bailey is one of the lead attorneys representing thousands of homeowners in the Palisades fire. We've had him on a lot. And they got to go ahead from an appeals court to continue with discovery and depositions of the city and the state and their horrible preparation and response to the fire. And we're going to have Roger Bailey on now to talk about the latest. Apparently, a judge has issued another ruling that the state of California has to identify all the state employees that were present in the area of the fire and to produce all their text messages. We'll get the details now. Roger Bailey, how are you?
I'm doing good, John. How you doing?
I'm good. Well, let's get into it here. What has the judge ruled, and how does this affect your case? What are you going to be getting out of it?
Well, we got our first order back in December of 2025, and at that time, the judge ordered the state to turn over all the text messages from the state employees that responded to the January 1 fire, and they didn't do that. We got a second order in February directing them to do that, and yet again, they didn't do that. And just last week, you remember when I was on last week to report that the Court of Appeals had agreed with the trial judge and our case was going forward. Well, the day after that, yet another text message that should have been produced back in December was produced by the state. It was withheld. And this one shows that a state park representative was watching things swirl up in the air 4 hours before the Palisades fire starts, doesn't investigate it, doesn't check it out. He says in the text message, let's all be safe out there. The burn scar is doing its best Dust Bowl impression. So basically, we've caught the state now 3 times failing to turn over text messages which are incriminating. They show that the state was aware there was smoke coming off of its property in the days between the Lockman fire and the start of the Palisades fire, and most recently, that even hours before the Palisades fire started, one of the state park employees was seeing smoke or dust or something, but didn't investigate it, didn't check it out, and of course, 4 hours later, we have the Palisades fire start, killing 12 and burning down 7,000 homes.
Why would somebody, especially someone who works for the state and works for the Parks Department, not report the smoke? I mean, because by then we'd had a week's worth of high wind, high fire danger warnings. Like, what's wrong with these people?
You know, we keep asking the same question because we've got hikers filming and reporting smoke. We've got the state park's own employees who are out in the burn scar, seeing smoke, smoldering roots, not reporting it. And then this most recent text, which was just unearthed last week, someone saw just 4 hours before the Palisades fire starts what he describes as, you know, it's doing its best Dust Bowl impression. Well, those of us that have seen wildfires rekindled know that was the smoke that preceded the ignition of the Palisades fire, but they do nothing. We have no idea. But look,
what would be the consequence? What would be the consequence of calling the fire department or calling their supervisor to call the fire department? I mean, I don't understand.
It makes no sense. All you got to do is pick up the phone, call LAFD back out there, call CAL FIRE back out there, but to do nothing. To see smoke swirling in the air or to see smoldering roots and to do nothing and having 12 people die and 7,000 homes destroyed, just it's infuriating. I mean, this is inexcusable government incompetence.
I just can't imagine why somebody wouldn't be alarmed, wouldn't have a pang of conscience of their conscience and say, oh my God, look at that. Jesus, that could blow up into a big fire. He's got a phone on him, right? He's got a phone on him. He just has to dial a number and you'd have some fire trucks there and none of this would have happened.
Right. He's got a phone so he can text his coworkers, but he can't use that same phone to dial 911. The most infuriating thing, though, John, is that the judge ordered all text messages to be produced 5 months ago. And these two text messages, the ones that confirm these state park employees were out there, they saw smoke, they saw smoldering roots, the state hid them. The state did not produce them. The state was hoping, well, maybe the judge will throw this case out. We won't have to turn this over. Or maybe the Court of Appeals will overturn the judge.
Yeah, that's why.
None of that happened. Yeah, that's exactly why. They hoped they would never have to produce this stuff. Now we've got it. And these texts that they withheld, these weren't like, how are your holidays? You know, how are things? These were incriminating texts that weren't just suddenly found. These were withheld.
It also says they have zero training on how to handle a potential dangerous situation. I mean, that should have been an alarm, right? You see the smoke? Who doesn't report smoke? In an area like that, with the conditions like that, who doesn't report smoke? Even if you don't know what you're doing, you'd report smoke. You could figure it out.
That's the fascinating part, is in writing, the state's operations manual says, hey, when there's a fire, you close the park down, you get up there and you inspect it thoroughly and make sure there are no public dangers. You mean like smoke? Yes, smoke. If you see smoke, that's a public danger. Smoke can become fire, especially for you where you have a red flag warning predicted. Again, it's just the further this case goes, the more stunned we are at the level of incompetence that cost people's lives, ruined their houses, destroyed their houses. It's inexcusable. I mean, it just gets worse and worse.
Have you seen any other text messages in this new batch that caused you some concern? Something for the case?
Well, you know, just that the ones that came out last week confirmed that the night before the Palisades fire started, you had the state parks representatives texting each other saying, hey, red flag warning out there. Be careful. So they knew the winds were coming. That's on the 6th of January. Then the shocker was at 6:48 in the morning on the 7th, you have another text thread where this state park employee, John Oda, says, "Hey, everybody, be careful out there. The burn scar, meaning the Lachlan burn scar from January 1, is doing its best Dust Bowl impression." Now,
Wow.
if I read that, that would have prompted me to get on 911 right away, get up there, put eyes on this thing. What are we watching? What are we seeing? They did none of that.
John Oda, you deposed, didn't you, back in December?
Well, yeah, see, that's right. So that's the other thing is the reason they were supposed to turn everything over back in December is so that when we took the depositions, we could ask these people, what did you mean, best Dust Bowl impression? Well, they hid these things from us, hoping that the case would be thrown out, after the depositions were finished. So now we're going to have to go back in, bring these people back in, and ask them about these damning texts. I mean, they're absolutely damning of the state not doing the most basic of safety precautions.
It's just terrible. Because there have been covered a lot of disasters, right? And so many of them, well, there's nothing you can do. But this one was easy to take care of and prevent. And I just feel for all the people who had to go through this tragedy. All right, Roger.
I'm going to go further and say that if they had done their job, we wouldn't have had a Palisades fire. Period.
Yes. Yeah, clearly. Just the Palisades fire would never have existed. Roger Bailey, thank you very much for coming on.
You bet, John. Take care.
One of the lead attorneys for the Palisades residents. You understand that? If John Oda had simply called 911, called the fire department, called the supervisor who called 911, anything, firefighters would come out there. They would have tamped down the smoke that was smoldering, and Palisades fire never happens. That one guy. Why didn't he do it? Why didn't he feel that pit in his stomach, that heart picks up a few beats, that urge to oh my God, this could be bad? I don't understand. It's just government employee syndrome. In for Deborah Mark, we got Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. China's president says the U.S. should be its partner, not rival. Governor Newsom's former chief of staff pleads guilty to federal crimes, and the Supreme Court has ruled to preserve access to abortion drugs by mail, even in states where abortion is illegal. We'll check the 71 freeway next.
Memorial Day is a time to honor great service, and at American Vision Windows, great service, that's what they're known for. This month, get 25% off all windows and doors. That's a significant savings on a real upgrade. New windows mean more comfort, stunning appeal, and you save on your heating and air conditioning all year long. This is a genuine glow up for your home, inside and out. Your neighbors are going to notice. Your family's going to feel it. They've installed over 1 million windows for California homeowners. Most jobs get done in a day, so there's a lot less disruption to your life. And you have new windows by evening. Your chance to save 25% on all windows and doors, that ends May 31st. AmericanVisionWindows.com. New customers only. Some restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. 888-771-2188. Call 888-771-2188.
Let's go to a crash on the 71 in Pomona.
This one is on the southbound side, and it's right at Mission Boulevard. The good news, they've just cleared this wreck out of lanes. Traffic is loading up off of the 57 freeway. Ahead in Chino Hills, some road work on the 71 southbound at Butterfield Ranch Road has that right lane off limits until 5 this afternoon. And delays are slammed away from Pine Avenue. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Sarah Spain for iHeart Women's Sports, presented by Capital One.
Today marks the tip-off of the WNBA's historic 30th season, with 2 new teams joining the league, the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire, to bring the total to 15 for the 2026 season. The Las Vegas Aces are the returning champs, led by 4-time WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson. 3 games on the slate tonight. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcast. As a founding partner of iHeart Women's Sports, Capital One helps you stay connected to top female athletes and earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores with the Capital One Saver Card. what's in your wallet. Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com for details.
This report is sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem Blue Cross and Chicas Verdes are helping students throughout Los Angeles learn how to grow and prepare their own healthy food. They're joined by Sparks and will provide education, recipes, and knowledge to students and families. Learn more at anthem.com/ca/Sparks. Anthem Blue Cross is the trade name of Blue Cross of California.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorney.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
How do you turn your backyard or front yard from a normal everyday yard into something spectacular? System pavers will do exactly that. I've used them for paved driveways, synthetic turf, landscape lighting, and System Pavers does it right. No dead grass, no outdated hardscape, no cracked concrete, and they offer complete outdoor living too. Barbecue islands, fire features, water features, you name it. And until May 30th, here is their offer. Free demolition and removal of existing concrete, brick, or asphalt, and instant recycling credit, which is applied to any new project. And I'm on my second go-round with them at my new home. It's a joy having friends and family be jealous of your yard and outdoor living space. System pavers are that good. Call 800-PAVE-004, 800-PAVE-004, systempavers.com/KFI. Website for full offer details, contractor's license 661575.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Gardeners, yard care enthusiasts, hobby horticulturalists. The yard care industry hid a horrible secret from us. They sold us toxic chemicals and called it green. It's time for Sunday. Just soybean proteins, iron, seaweed, molasses. Real ingredients that make your soil thrive. Sunday blends clean ingredients with real science for a yard that's thicker, greener, and healthier. Get your custom Sunday yard plan for spring at getsunday.com.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KRS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
I am looking at this dish that I'm going to taste right now. It's sexy as hell, for one. It screams rustic, delicious. Yeah. The minute you see it, you say, not only is that beautiful, but I want that in my pie hole right now.
The Fork Report with Neil Saavedra. Saturday afternoon at 2 on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Yacht Rock Radio on iHeartRadio drops anchor and goes commercial-free every weekend. Weekends were made for smooth sailing. Yacht Rock Radio's got the soundtrack. Just sit back, put your feet up, and enjoy. The smoothest soft rock from the 70s and 80s.
You're the biggest part of me.
Open the free iHeart app, search Yacht Rock, and set sail.
iHeartRadio.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
If you had 15 grand to help a nonprofit, would you give it to a program that helps at-risk kids graduate, or a different one that takes vets fishing? Huntington Beach made their choice.
And no matter who you side with, someone is going to call you evil. Tomorrow on Monks and Merrill, starting at noon, on air and on the iHeartRadio app.
$1,000 giveaway now.
Now is your opportunity to win $1,000. Yes! Just enter the nationwide keyword on our website. Family. That's family. FAMILY. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash. Brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
Family. That's the word at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. Every hour, every weekday, we have a new winning keyword. Starts at 9 a.m. or in the 9 a.m. hour all the way to the 5 p.m. hour. And next chance to win here with me is at 5:20 on KFI. John Kobylt Show, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And we're live on YouTube. We have another all-show YouTube stream going on. So join the party here. We even have a chat, a live chat off to the side so you can all argue amongst yourselves. And we'll be doing that till 6 o'clock. Gavin Newsom released his budget for 2027, I guess 2026, 27. And I mean, it's a tremendous amount of spending. It is more spending than ever before in history. $350 billion. Do you know in the late Schwarzenegger years, it was $100 billion? Now it's $350 billion. That's way past the rate of inflation. And speaking of inflation, Gavin Newsom produced a whopper of a lie. He held a press conference today, unveiling the budget, and claimed that the California economy has grown 38% in his 7.5 years in office. 38%. That would be false, wrong, a lie. And he knows it's a lie. Because when you present those numbers, you have to adjust for inflation. Now, inflation was bad, especially during the Joe Biden years from 2021 up until 2024. It was bad. And so the growth is not real growth. It's inflation-boosted growth. So what you have to do is look at the growth and subtract the rate of inflation. That is honest economics, which means the state's economy grew by only 16% in the last 8 years. Not that much over an 8-year period. Less than the national average. But the 38% that he claimed, no, false. Of course, play a game. Go to Google later and look at all the news stories from the mainstream media and count how many mention that his 38% claim is false. Just see how many tell the truth. Now, one thing not mentioned in the budget is the tens, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fraud that Steve Hilton and Dr. Oz found, and Nick Shirley and CBS and Fox, and I could go on and on. You know, the hospice fraud, for example. And Newsom outright denied there was any hospice fraud, that he took care of everything 5 years ago. And then he said Oz was being racist for picking on the Armenian crime gangs that are behind the hospice fraud in Van Nuys. Remember that? Well, J.D. Vance, who is chairing a task force committee on fraud, had a press conference yesterday, and Dr. Oz came up and spoke. And here is the latest hospice fraud news out of Los Angeles, according to Dr. Oz.
Unfortunately, we have a reality that, again, we got to face. A third of all hospices, a third of all these programs in the entire country are in Los Angeles. Ask yourself, how is that possible? It's not. There are not that many people dying in Los Angeles. We're not talking about California, just Los Angeles. So Kim and the team, with Janina Wugo and a bunch of other great folks, went through the list of all the people, and we believe that at least half of the hospices in the entire area around Los Angeles are fraudulent. And today we announced 800 of those hospices have been suspended. That's getting us, close to where we think we should be. 800 hospices that last year charged the federal taxpayer $1.4 billion will no longer be paid. Now, Mr. Vice President, if your core business was shut down by the federal government, would you call?
Yes.
You would call. Crickets. We have less than 20 who have complained. We're not even sure those are legitimate. 800 hospices shut down, and we're not hearing much. It's crickets out there. So we believe we're on the right path here. Next is a nationwide moratorium on all new hospice and home health care. Why is that possible? Because when we squeeze the balloon in California and slow their growth of hospice and now take away 800, the payments to 800 hospices, we know what those fraudsters do. They move to nearby Nevada. Next door, Nevada has a 7-fold increase in hospice already. Arizona, Texas, they're moving across the country. So we've today announcing a moratorium nationally. There will be no new hospices or home health care open in this country. If you have the program now, you can keep it. You can go to ones that already exist. We're not taking away any services, but there will be no new ones, licenses granted until we can figure out a better way of working across government.
Gavin Newsom didn't mention that in his budget speech today. Gavin Newsom denied any of this was going on. Gavin Newsom claimed Oz was racist over it. And it turns out they closed 800 hospices and got less than 20 complaints. You man, these guys just loaded up the back of their van and sped onto the desert and started stealing from taxpayers in other states. So it was all true. It was all real. Can you imagine running a business and the government shuts you down and you go, oh, okay, no problem. Nothing. That is shocking, and that's proof. And why doesn't somebody make Newsom address that, huh? Cowards in the media, bootlickers, ass kissers. Come on, 800? It wasn't an anomaly. It was the entire system. And they knew what was going on in Sacramento, and they were told repeatedly. And remember, they mocked Nick Shirley and made him look like as if he was a pedophile? A bunch of bad people, Newsom and those in his office. Bad people. That's $1 billion saved right there. Trump administration did that. All right, we come back. All right, Karen Bass. She went on CNN. She is really spooked by those AI ads for Spencer Pratt's campaign. And she said something unbelievably absurd. We'll play it for you when we come back. In for Deborah Mark, it is Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Chinese President Xi Jinping says China and the U.S. should be partners, not rivals. The comments came during Xi's first meeting with President Trump in Beijing. ABC's Selena Wang says tensions over Taiwan and Iran are hanging over the summit.
The U.S. readout mentioned that both leaders agree the strait needs to be open, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But we didn't get any of that from the Chinese readout.
Wang says artificial intelligence and possible new trade and investment forums are also expected to come up during the talks. Governor Newsom's former chief of staff is admitting to federal crimes. Dana Williamson has pleaded guilty to conspiracy involving bank and wire fraud. Prosecutors say she helped steal about $225,000 from a dormant campaign account tied to former Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra. Williamson's attorney, McGregor Scott, says she accepts responsibility for what she did.
She's now a felon. Was it a mistake? Absolutely. But her intentions were, I think, noble in trying to help out a friend at a bad time.
Prosecutors say Becerra's then Chief of Staff Sean McCluskey and lobbyist Greg Campbell also participated in the scheme. Williamson faces up to 30 years in prison. LA Mayor Bass and council member Hugo Soto Martinez have broken ground on a tiny house village in East Hollywood.
The project is for safe, stable interim housing for more than 50 homeless people, including 10 beds for transitional age youth. It's part of a broader citywide effort supported by a $33 million investment from Governor Newsom and the state to create new tiny homes across LA. Soto Martinez said right now the city only has enough interim housing capacity for about a third of the people living on the streets, and he called that unacceptable. The Sierra Vista Tiny Home Village is expected to open in early 2027. Mark Rauner, KFI News.
The Supreme Court has ruled to preserve access to abortion drugs by mail, even in states where abortion is illegal. ABC's Devin Dwyer says the justices have paused a lower court ruling that would have blocked telehealth abortions in Louisiana.
Women who need it and seek it would have to get it in person at a doctor's office. And many abortion rights advocates say that's a significant barrier for a lot of women in a lot of states.
Officials in Louisiana say they're disappointed the restrictions were blocked because they argue abortion pills mailed into the state violate Louisiana law. We'll check the 91 freeway next.
John here, Lasting Smiles Dental Implants. We had a huge response to their April Smile special. So I got them to extend it into May. But they're only offering a limited number of spots at these prices. If you've been dealing with ugly, disgusting teeth, maybe your teeth just fell out and you're waiting for the right deal, here's the right deal. a free comprehensive dental exam, 3D imaging, a custom treatment plan, payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. $149 a month, you can swing that. This is limited. First come, first serve. Call now, lock in your spot, mention KFI or John to get this deal. LastingSmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI tonight, cloudy with lows in the 50s. It's 72 degrees in La Palma, 72 in Orange. We're going to a crash on the 91 in Anaheim Hills.
This one's on the eastbound side before Imperial Highway. Motorcycle down. Highway Patrol said it was the left lane blocked. Delays, they're backing up all the way from the 57. Also, in Chino Hills, you've got a slow drive on that 71 southbound from Pine Avenue to Butterfield Ranch Road, where you've got some road work running until about 5 o'clock this evening. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Commercial contractors, if you're looking to build for the future with the best business management platform, you're looking for ServiceTitan. With over 200 commercial-specific features and 70-plus integrations, commercial contractors using ServiceTitan typically see a 16% higher annual growth in revenue and a 21% higher renewal rate. When you're looking to build your legacy on a strong foundation, look to ServiceTitan. Learn more at servicetitan.com/commercial. That's servicetitan.com/commercial. Results are not guaranteed and may vary.
Are you avoiding shorts or dresses because of your varicose veins? You find yourself covering up, feeling self-conscious about how your legs look? Don't wait another minute. West Medical can treat varicose veins in under an hour with no downtime. That's right. One simple call and a quick procedure can help you feel confident again. Most treatments are affordable and covered by PPO insurance. Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL today. That's 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL or go to westmedical.com.
I feel incredible because I called 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Hey, Maria, how many windows do we replace every year for SoCal homeowners?
Thousands, because everyone wants the same things. Comfort, lower energy bills, and a home that finally looks and feels the way it should.
I'm Duncan Newman, founder of Newman Windows and Doors.
And I'm Maria Newman. When you choose Newman, our name is on the work. We do the job right the first time. We provide honest recommendations and top quality Milgard products that we stand behind.
Because we don't just work in the community.
We live here.
Buy 2 Milgard vinyl windows and get 1 Milgard window free. And don't pay until 2027. Plus, for a limited time, Milgard is including a bonus electronic gift card with every Milgard product purchase.
Ask us about garage doors, interior doors, and glass replacement. Even fogged glass units can be replaced quickly and easily.
Call 8777-NEWMAN or NewmanWindows.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Financing is subject to credit approval. Call for details. License number 570472. Expires May 31st, 2026.
Train wreck after train wreck. Finally, someone to talk you through it. Therapy Thursday is a new iHeart podcast with licensed therapist Sarah Dash. I'm Ellen Kay along with Ryan Mano. Join us on the iHeart app and wherever you get your podcasts.
OPO Injury Lawyers, rooted in this community, relentless in justice. OPOLaw.com.
Termites active? Call Pacific Coast Termite. No tenting, plus 10% off. Call 1-800-PACIFIC.
You're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology with top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need advanced hair. They've completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address all of them with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with the most experienced professionals. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of these breakthrough treatments. And get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one can offer anything like the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. It's where I address my hair loss, and I recommend you do the same. Now, it all starts with a free consultation. Call 844-333-HAIR. If you qualify, you're also going to get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Redefine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 844-333-HAIR, 844-333-HAIR, advancedhair.com.
Does every mother count? Because not every mother survives. In 2024, in the U.S. alone, 649 moms died from complications of pregnancy and childbirth. In fact, a person is more likely to die from complications of pregnancy and childbirth today than their mother was a generation ago, making the U.S. one of the most dangerous high-resource countries in the world to give birth. Every Mother Counts is working to change this because the greatest tragedy is that almost all maternal deaths are preventable. Visit everymothercounts.org to learn more.
I definitely tune into KFI for news. If I turn on the radio, they're going to be talking about it.
It's the go-to station for me.
Listen to KFI. I didn't hear that on the news. You won't. You can't just get everything off of local news and TikTok, right?
People are so quick to go to their podcasts nowadays, but this is a great way to get up-to-date news, be engaged in your community, to know what's happening locally.
It's very unique and different. It's part of Southern California. It gets me through the day.
KFI, AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We're on every day from 3 until 6. After 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on Demand, the podcast, and we are live on YouTube. We're doing a live stream, and it's the John Kobylt channel, John Kobylt Show channel. You can also subscribe so you get notifications, youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show, youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. But to watch the live stream, it's on the John Kobylt channel. And follow us, subscribe, and you can become a member. We will have member benefits debuting very soon. All right. Now, I'm sure, I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, it's gotten millions of views. But Spencer Pratt has a friend in the entertainment industry who is putting out some of those AI commercials for Pratt's campaign. And this one I've seen 3 times, and I've laughed really hard all 3 times. And it has Karen Bass as the Joker, and Gavin Newsom as Marie Antoinette. Is Kamala Harris playing a character? Because I'm not up on all the movie characters, but she's swigging out of a bottle of alcohol, and it's really, really funny. It is one of the funniest things I've seen in any kind of entertainment in a long time. And towards the end, the crowd starts throwing tomatoes at Newsom and Bass and Kamala Harris, and they end up turning all red, big red splotches from the tomatoes. So Karen Bass goes on CNN, I think she was with Alex Michelson, to complain about the tomatoes being thrown at her in the AI video. I'm not making this up. Listen here.
But what's worrying me now is that his social media is now taking on a violent turn. But what's worrying me now is that his social media is now taking on a violent turn. And that worries me, because when you do that and when your messages are so hateful, or when you demonize people, then you do provoke people who are unstable, and you can jeopardize people's safety.
You mean like the throwing of the tomatoes?
Well, the throwing of the tomatoes, which look like blood, or drowning me and the governor in a reservoir. But there's also other violent scenes. And so I've noticed that it's taking on a violent trend.
Throwing tomatoes? Wait a second. AI characters throwing tomatoes at other AI characters. That is almost as funny as the video. Throwing tomatoes has been part of American culture for probably over 100 years. I think it goes back to vaudeville days. You know, vaudeville in the 1920s, where you'd sit there for hours and all these different variety acts would come by. You'd have singers and dancers and comedians and jugglers and all kinds of people doing tricks. And if the crowd didn't like the act, they'd hurl tomatoes. So this is an American tradition. When there's something on stage that you don't like, you throw a tomato. And she turns it into a dark turn, a violent trend. Oh my God. That is hysterical. When I heard she said that, I couldn't play that again. I want another laugh.
Worrying me now is that his social media is now taking on a violent turn. And that worries me, because when you do that and when your messages are so hateful, or when you demonize people, then you do provoke people who are unstable, and you can jeopardize people's safety.
You mean like the throwing of the tomatoes?
Well, the throwing of the tomatoes, which look like blood, or drowning me and the governor in a reservoir. But there's also other violent scenes. And so I've noticed that it's taking on a violent trend.
Yeah, it's fine. How about the violence that you allowed that killed 12 people in the Palisades fire and burned down 7,000 homes and businesses? How about that violence? How about the violence from all the mental patients and drug addicts in the streets and all the criminals? How about that violence? It's amazing how much violence and destruction she has unleashed on us. And then a filmmaker creates an AI Karen Bass that fake AI people are throwing tomatoes at. It's like, oh, this is dark. This has turned violent. This is dangerous. Oh, please stuff it. Good Lord, what you've done to LA, what you've done to my neighborhood. Are you out of your mind? Are you completely out of your mind? And still she gets 30% of the vote. Tomatoes. Wait, not even real tomatoes. Fake tomatoes. Because if you've seen the video, Pratt plays like a Batman style character, and he's fighting agents wearing masks, and they wear vests featuring DSA. That's the Democratic Socialists of America. That is that evil, destructive political party that has 4 seats and the controller's office here in Los Angeles. And Bass is in sympathy with them. Bass does not disagree with the Democratic Socialists on anything. They want to defund the police. She's defunded the police. I didn't know they were against the fire department, but she's defunded the fire department even worse. Poor firefighters are pretty much going door to door begging for money with a tax increase. The video is hysterical. It encapsulates all the damage. Oh, and you got to see Newsom dressed up as Marie Antoinette. In fact, I wouldn't doubt that he does that on some Friday nights on his own. That's very possible. All right, we got more coming up. When we come back, well, I want to get back into the Dana Williamson story, the chief of staff, who's Gavin Newsom's chief of staff, formerly, and she's going to prison. And Javier Becerra's chief of staff is going to prison. Big scandal. And we're going to also talk to David Tangipa, the assemblyman, because he wants to keep Dana Williamson from getting back into government as a lobbyist, which she still can do under the law. All this is coming up next segment, and then after 5 o'clock, David Tangipa. What's that? Oh, YouTube comments too. We're gonna read some YouTube comments coming up next. Wow, we got a lot to do here. Oh, and next hour, Nithya Raman wants to ban your backyard barbecue. How about that? Deborah Mark is out today. We have Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. China makes a surprise move ahead of President Trump's second round of talks with Xi Jinping. Governor Newsom says authorities say a man and woman who were critically hurt in this morning's house fire in Montebello have both died. And the FBI director takes a swim at Pearl Harbor. Southland weather from KFI by Allstate. Tonight, cloudy with lows in the 50s. We're going to another crash on the 71 in Pomona.
So this one's on the northbound side, just before Rio Rancho Road. They've got all lanes stopped here for a 5-car pileup. We're trying to get everything situated. That drive is going to be slow moving with delays away from Grand Avenue, and it's starting to affect the 60 westbound with a slow drive almost from just almost the exit before the 60 from Reservoir. So things are getting busy. Now, let's also take a look at the drive on the 90. There's a crash reported getting out of Marina Del Rey eastbound at just right at the 405. Now, this is bad enough that they're diverting traffic from the East 90 to the 405. And we're seeing a backup here from Centinela Avenue with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Young Kim backs President Trump 100%.
False. Liberal Young Kim opposed President Trump's immigration policy, voting to protect convicted criminal illegal immigrants from deportation. And Kim voted to force businesses to open transgender bathrooms, allowing men with our daughters. And Kim voted to censure President Trump, but voted against censoring Adam Schiff. Anti-Trump, woke, liberal. That's the real Young Kim. Americans for Security PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by Americans for Security PAC.
Termites are one of those things we tend to put off. E. coli is here to protect your most expensive investment, your home, your family, and the environment. You might have heard of Sue Freeze, the termite lady. She's the owner of E. coli Termite and Pest Control. Now, they've been protecting Southern California homes for more than 40 years. So if you have a termite problem, that's who you want in your corner. E. coli offers eco-friendly treatments that are tough on termites, but gentle on kids, pets, and anyone who's sensitive to chemicals. And if you're not planning on selling your house, they'll come out and inspect your home for free. And with all the heat we've had over this last month here in Southern California, it's perfect breeding grounds for termites. E. coli has been recognized as one of the top pest control companies in North America by Pest Control Technology magazine. So if you suspect a termite problem, you must act fast. So call E. coli at 1-800-332-BUGS. 1-800-332-2847. 1-800-332-BUGS.
Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
This report is sponsored by Think It Up. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Hi, this is Dave Roberts. Heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, that's a risk. That's why everyone needs a medical emergency kit at urgentcarekit.com/blue.
Gold and silver recently hit record highs, then pulled back. So are metals still a good buy? Many experts say yes. Gold remains a long-standing hedge for wealth protection. Call Lear Capital at 800-225-8100 for a free gold kit. 800-225-8100.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft, but that's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. 800-LifeLock. 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
Congressional districts change. Lines get redrawn. But some things you can still count on, like AM and FM radio. The most reliable ways to reach people where they live with voices they trust across towns, cities, and congressional districts. At iHeart, we connect with more Americans than anyone in audio. Ready to take your message to your current and future voters? Partner with iHeart, and we'll combine radio with our podcasting and digital assets and get working for you. Start today. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit winwithiheart.com.
You need to lose 50 pounds or more. You've tried dieting, you've tried injections, but nothing has worked. This is not failure. You just need the right plan. Weight loss is complex. It can be affected by stress, depression, or genetics, and that means you deserve real medical support. At West Medical, your path forward is physician-guided and built around you. Take control of your health with a free consultation to start feeling incredible. 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL. That's 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Feel incredible because I called 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Skip this.
tap that red talkback mic on the iHeartRadio app while listening to your favorite station.
You guys rock.
Instant feedback. And the best feature, if you mess up,
Hopefully I'm sending these messages correctly.
do it again. Leave a talkback now on the free iHeartRadio app.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. We can do the messages now. We're on every day from 3 until 6. Oh, and if you want to see me interviewed by my wife, and who doesn't, Deborah Kobylt Live. That's her show on YouTube, her video podcast, Deborah Kobylt Live, and I was her guest, and we talked about the mayor and governor's race. So you could watch that if you'd like later on. All right, let's do the messages now. And then I'm going to play you a setup for our next guest. Okay, let's see. Sell the Premium says, dang, that table takes a pounding from John, enough to shake the camera. Ha ha. Yeah, I know. I can't control myself. Tucker Time says, maybe she can, Bass, maybe she can catch the tomatoes and give them to those poor meth heads without teeth to gum on. I heard that teeth clip being played all over cable TV yesterday. Let's see. Sell the Premium said, been a long time KFI listener since the days of John's infamous bullhorn. Love it. Bullhorn's in my office at home, by the way. It doesn't work, though. Or maybe it needs a battery.
You should bring it in and show the people on the stream.
I should. I wonder if I can get something if we auctioned it off. Superfecta. Trifecta. The choo-choo swindle, new strategy. High-speed rail wants to capture local taxes. Central Valley cities are screwed. Bright Lamb says, talking to my Lib family member a couple of weeks ago, and he thinks all the fraud stuff is fake. Oh, we were just playing Dr. Oz. 800 hospices shut down. Almost none of them complained afterwards. They're just moving to other states. Oh, EJR 2904. Gas is around $5.50 in my armpit of the IE. Well, I'm paying $6.10. I don't know if it'd be worth it to drive to the IE. George Music for all seasons. Really enjoy the John Kobylt live shows on YouTube. Good. I hope you are, because we're going to keep doing them. Now, I want to play you this, because this is really important. The former chief of staff of Gavin Newsom is going to prison, and the former chief of staff of Javier Becerra is going to prison. They're both going to prison. And this explains why. Listen to this report, and then we're going to talk with Assemblyman David Tangipa, because he wants to make sure that Newsom's chief of staff doesn't end up back in government in some way.
Dana Williamson pled guilty today. She's accused of multiple crimes, including scheming to steal hundreds of thousands from a political campaign account. Now, according to court documents, they show that she agreed to a plea deal for the following counts: conspiracy to commit bank fraud and wire fraud, filing a false tax return, and lying to the FBI. And here's Williamson arriving to court this morning. She was indicted back in November, accused of funneling $225,000 from an inactive campaign account that belonged to Javier Becerra. The money was allegedly funneled to the personal bank account of Becerra's longtime chief of staff, Sean McCluskey. Williamson is also accused of falsifying documents related to pandemic small business loans and tax fraud. Now, outside of court today, her attorney said that she was trying to help McCluskey, and Williamson herself lost her own money in this scheme.
The following facts are true, and they are borne out by the government's discovery. This idea to take money from the Becerra account originated with Sean McCluskey. This was his idea. He chased my client repeatedly. I think we have over a dozen text messages in February and March of 22 where he was repeatedly requesting a meeting with her so they could talk about how to do this. My client offered to pay all of the salary to Mr. McCluskey's wife out of her own pocket without touching Mr. Becerra's account. He declined, Mr. McCluskey declined to do that. He didn't want her to have to bear all that cost. You say to yourself, why? What was her motivation? Her motivation was singular and heart-rending. She was trying to help a friend.
Oh, shut up.
Mr. McCluskey was back in D.C. with Mr. Becerra, serving as chief of staff. Family was still on the West Coast.
All right, stop. Oh, that's Williamson's attorney. What a buffoon. If somebody was bugging me, if a friend was bugging me, hey, steal money from this account, steal money from this account, it's illegal. I would not steal the money from that account. If for no other reason is I don't want to end up in prison like she's going to prison. What is this? Well, it was his idea. It doesn't matter whose idea it was. You stole it. Oh, she was trying to help a friend. Tell the friend to take another job. This whole thing was McCluskey, who's Becerra's chief of staff, had to follow Becerra to Washington. He was leaving as California Attorney General to work in Biden's cabinet. And the job in Biden's cabinet didn't pay as much for McCluskey. So he was trying to get the salary difference restored. So the scam is that Williamson would charge Becerra $10,000 a month to manage Becerra's political account, even though it was dormant. He wasn't running for anything. There was nothing going on. There was no income or outgo. But she was getting $10,000, and Becerra agreed to pay her. Then she took the $10,000 and laundered it over to McCluskey so he could make up the difference between his Sacramento salary and his Washington salary. And then Becerra's trying to claim he had nothing to do with it and didn't know anything about it. Well, he approved the payments. He didn't say, $10,000 to look over a dormant account? This is preposterous. And hopefully tonight there's a CBS debate, and I hope the other candidates beat the crap out of Becerra over this. It's obviously a scam. He must have known what was going on. Yeah, that's what you want in the next governor. 2 chiefs of staff. That's the top-ranking official in both administrations, Newsom and Becerra. One is stealing the money, and the other is taking the money. When we come back, David Tangipa is coming on. He's the assemblyman, and he says Williamson, after she serves her time in prison, can go back into government as a lobbyist, and he wants to pass a law that would stop her and anybody else from doing it. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Deborah Mark is off today. We have Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Agenda Advantage. I'm Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. President Trump is set for a second round of talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. But ABC's Mary Bruce says China got ahead of the Trump administration.
China was out first with its statement that warning about Taiwan. The White House readout came hours later and didn't lay out any specific progress, either on trade or Iran.
Xi says he'll soon welcome Russian President Vladimir Putin. Authorities say a man and woman critically hurt in this morning's house fire in Montebello have died at the hospital. The child was found dead inside the burned home earlier. Montebello Police Chief Luis Lopez says investigators believe the fire and deaths are tied to domestic violence.
We believe that the child inside is related to one of the adults. However, at this point, we're still trying to confirm that.
The fire started around 4:30 this morning. Governor Newsom has unveiled a revised 2026-27 state budget proposal he says would eliminate California's projected deficit through 2028. Newsom says the plan cuts nearly $2 billion in general fund spending and includes a $100 million rebuilding fund to help wildfire survivors.
Costs of construction obviously have gone up because of Trump and Trumpism, and a lot of people with permits, but they're not moving yet because of that gap. We believe this can substantially help them.
It also protects funding for core programs while preparing for economic uncertainty ahead. A Temecula school board controversy is heating up.
Parents are demanding 2 Temecula Valley Unified School Board members resign after they accused high school water polo players of looking sexually provocative, or like a, quote, OnlyFans crew in a social media photo. The boys painted letters on their chest and dropped their pants to reveal school-colored Speedos during a baseball game. One parent calls the comments sexual harassment and says the board members unfairly sexualized minors. Both officials defended their criticism as concerns over dress code and professionalism. Heather Brooker, KFI News.
The director of the FBI took a dip around one of the most famous memorials at Pearl Harbor.
The Associated Press has obtained emails showing Kash Patel took a VIP snorkel around the USS Arizona at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The battleship sunk by the Japanese surprise attack in 1941 has more than 900 sailors and Marines entombed inside. Snorkeling and diving are off limits around the now military cemetery, but the Navy and Park Service have quietly allowed some dignitaries to swim around the site. A Marine veteran who dives there to check on the condition of the wreck says it's hallowed ground, and this is like having a bachelor party at a church. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
We'll check the 101 freeway next.
Lasting Smiles Dental Implants. We had a ton of listeners calling for this in April, the April Spring Smile Special. I talked to the team at Lasting Smiles and convinced them to extend it into May. But there's a catch. They're only doing a limited number of cases at these prices. And once these spots are gone, they are gone. If you've been dealing with rotted, disgusting, decayed teeth, if people turn their heads in horror every time you open your mouth, and you've been shopping around for dental implants, looking for the right deal, here's the right deal. At Lasting Smiles, you get decades of experience, cutting-edge digital technology, and some of the most competitive pricing in the industry. And you can get free comprehensive dental exam with this deal, full 3D imaging, a custom treatment plan built just for you. They're offering payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. Transform your smile and your life for $149 a month. That is a deal. Offer limited, first come, first serve. Lock in your spot now. Mention KFI or John. LastingSmiles.com. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI tonight, cloudy with lows in the 50s. It's 70 degrees in La Palma, 71 in Orange, 70 in Studio City, 66 in Santa Monica. The KFI financial report, the Dow gained 370, S&P 500 gained 57, and NASDAQ gained 233. We're going to a stall on the 101 in the Cahuenga Pass.
This one's northbound at Barham. That's where the middle lane has been blocked with a backup getting out of Silver Lake away from Vermont, and also that southbound side of the 101. It's going to be tough as well. Overall slowing that starts out of Calabasas from Las Virgenes and stretches all the way back into downtown LA. Let's check out that drive in La Cañada, 210 westbound, slowing down from Foothill Boulevard. You remain on the brakes ahead all the way into Tahunga. Looks like a crash just before Foothill Boulevard is the culprit of that slow drive. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
If you've seen termites, wings, or droppings, it's time to call Pacific Coast Termite for a free written inspection. And with Pacific Coast Termite, they use orange oil and Ultraset for treatment. There's no tenting, no move out, and no pumping your home with poisonous gas. You, the kids, and pets can even stay home while they work. Call now for a 10% discount on termite services and a free 2-year warranty. Plus, get 90-day same-as-cash financing on approved credit. Call 800-PACIFIC. Some restrictions apply.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
John Kobylt Show, KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. We are on every day from 3 until 6. After 6 o'clock, what do? You go to the iHeart app for the podcast, John Kobylt Show on Demand. So there's no excuse. Whatever you missed, you can catch up on there. We're live on YouTube right now. We have the live stream going on for the whole show these days. It's the John Kobylt Show channel, John Kobylt Show. And you can subscribe by going to youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. You follow us, you subscribe to us, you become a member. We're going to have member privileges not too far down the road. And why don't we get to 10,000 subscribers? That's the plan now. All right. We played a clip. I don't think I credited the station. It was KCRA Channel 3. The reporter was Mike Cherry on Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, pleading guilty to 3 felonies, and she's going to prison. Along with the Javier Becerra's chief of staff, who also recently pleaded guilty to, his name's McCluskey, and Williamson and McCluskey are going to prison because McCluskey and Williamson conspired on this scam where McCluskey was going with Becerra to Washington to work in the Biden administration, but he didn't like the salary. He was complaining about it and convinced Williamson to take $10,000 out of Becerra's political account every month. It was supposed to be her pay for managing the account, except there was nothing to manage. He wasn't running for anything. But she got the $10,000 every month, and then it funneled it over to McCluskey to make up the difference in his salary. Anyway, they're both going to prison. Yes, Becerra's chief of staff and Newsom's chief of staff. How about that? That's how deep the rot is, the corruption. Well, Williamson can come back conceivably and be a lobbyist. I guess McCluskey too. And David Tangipa, he's the Republican assemblyman from Fresno, wants to pass law to stop that, block that sort of thing from happening. Let's get David on. David, how are you?
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Yes. I just can't believe that you got Becerra and Newsom's former chiefs of staff involved in this scandal. I mean, this should be far, far bigger news than it is. You can't get any higher up the ladder in Newsom and Becerra's office than their chiefs of staff, right?
I agree with you 100%. There is nobody that gets mainly to the electeds prior to, or gets through to the electeds other than going through your chief of staff. And the entire rumor here and everything up here in Sacramento, as I've been a legislator for only 2 years now, even though it feels like a millennium, that she used to run this place like a whip. That if you didn't do what she said to a T, that she was going to punish you. And she was a bully. She ran this place like a mob. And now she's willing to do it if she's stealing from her own friends. Can you imagine what she was doing to the state of California? Who was getting through to Governor Newsom? Who got allocations on the budget? What advice was being pushed to him? The culture of corruption in California is now vindicated and proven with this guilty charge. And there's still ties to corruption all over the place, which is why I introduced my bill, that if you are convicted and charged with corruption, you shouldn't be able to lobby the government. That even in this portion in her interview, after her guilty conviction, her lawyer was asked, could she go back and influence and lobby the government? The lawyer said, yes, there's nothing in the state of California that would bar her from doing that after serving in her prison sentence.
So, and that's the big gravy train, is becoming a lobbyist. That's when you get paid big money from clients who are trying to get bills passed. And the lobbyist is the one who, I guess, greases the system, makes it worthwhile for the politicians to go along with what they want.
You're seeing it in real time right now, and it's one of the things that I pride myself is that I have a majority of my support that comes from the people that I represent in my district. And it's the thing for me is that I think the everyday Californians, they're one of their number one issues right after affordability is they're thinking to themselves, how is it so hard to live in California when we're supposedly the fourth largest economy in the world, when we have more resources than we've ever had with record budget numbers, record spending, nothing's gotten better. So it not only is telling people that if you think your money is being stolen from you, you are hearing it right now with these guilty convictions time and time again. Not only the corruption on that part, but the other parts that feel like corruption as well. This week, Governor Newsom had to appoint somebody to the High-Speed Rail Authority Board because the chair just stepped down, and he appointed somebody that has no experience building trains and was a former director on some of the homeless initiative in the state of California.
Oh, come on.
We've heard about, oh yeah, that's what happened. And that's the most expensive infrastructure project happening in the world right now. $231 billion.
Probably ever.
And then it is on track right now to be the third most, really taking the second. The number one most expensive is actually the interstate project of the 1950s adjusted for inflation. Number two is the International Space Station. And number three is currently California High-Speed Rail. That's how insane this is.
Yeah, but we have an interstate highway system for the last 70 years, and we have an international space station. So I could see the highway system, and I could see the space station.
Yep. And now we've got 1,500 feet and a modern-day Stonehenge for $18 billion cash spent already. That is what Californians are getting, and this is why I tell everybody that you are paying the highest in taxes. You are paying the most in gas and fuel cost. You're paying the highest for home cost. You're paying the highest everywhere. And what tangibly are you seeing that the state of California can put its hat on and says, you are getting what you paid for?
Do you think some people...
So the only answer to me is corruption.
Do you think some people are finally getting it? The homeless industry is entirely corrupt. The high-speed rail industry is entirely corrupt. I just don't understand. I mean, the gas tax, right? The gas tax is so high, and all the roads are crumbling into pieces, which means that money's getting stolen too. It's so obvious. Just open your own eyes. You can see it's being stolen.
Well, it's when they watch the governor's debate tonight, and we've heard that question time and time again. Would you suspend the gas tax? Would you suspend the gas tax? And, Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton say yes. And they go, well, how are you going to build roads? And Becerra and Katie Porter, and they all say, like, what are you going to do to build roads? I'm going to do the same thing that 49 other states do to build roads that don't have as much as a gas tax, yet they have more roads and can build better roads.
Well, some of the gas tax going to high-speed rail.
Exactly. Whether it's high-speed rail or all of these other areas, they're trying to measure their metric of success on spending, which is fantasy. It's not on outcomes. And you've seen that in homelessness. You've seen it in high-speed rail. You've seen it all across the board. When it comes to their metric of success, it's simply spending. And here's the thing that's most evident. This is a record revenue year for the state of California. We have never had $350 billion in spending. And yet they are proposing more taxes. The billionaires tax, and the thing that I think most people weren't paying attention to on the billionaires tax question from last week's debate was the only reason why Katie Porter, Becerra, and Steyer were not the biggest fans of the billionaires tax was because it didn't go far enough in taking from people. Katie Porter said that 500 millionaires to half billionaires could also pay more too. They are telling you right now they have an insatiable hunger for other people's assets, and it's only going to get worse.
All right, David Tangipa, thank you for coming on, the Republican Assemblyman out of the Fresno area. And we'll talk again soon.
I appreciate you.
All right, and he's got a bill, AB 1560. It would keep the likes of Newsom's former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, from reentering government as a lobbyist. She's going to prison for stealing money from Javier Becerra's account. She was taking the money out of Javier Becerra's account to give it to Sean McCluskey, who is Becerra's former chief of staff. They're both going to prison. When we come back, now this is war. Nithya Raman wants to ban my backyard barbecue, and yours too. No hamburgers. She is so crazy. And we'll explain this coming up. Deborah Mark is out. We have Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. Dozens of people across the U.S. are being monitored due to the hantavirus outbreak. A pro-Palestinian Jewish group claims Los Angeles officials trumped up charges against anti-war protesters. And the CIA director met with Cuban officials today, saying the U.S. is open to talks only if Cuba agrees to reforms. We'll check the 605 freeway next.
Life can really change in an instant. One accident, and suddenly you're dealing with pain, confusion, and a lot of uncertainty about what happens next. And that's where Sweet James comes in. They understand the physical, emotional, and financial toll an accident can take. This is what they deal with every day. When you call Sweet James, you're putting a team in your corner that handles the legal fight so you can focus on getting your life back together. They can't guarantee or predict the outcome of any case, but if you've been hurt in an accident, could be a car, a trucking, motorcycle accident, all of it. This is not something you handle alone. You call Sweet James, get him by your side, free consultation, 800-9-million, 800-9-million. They have offices throughout California, including Los Angeles. 800-9-million, 800-9-million, 800-9-000-000, or go to sweetjames.com.
Southland weather from KFI brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Tonight, cloudy with lows in the 50s. We're going to a crash in Santa Fe Springs on the 605.
This one is along the northbound side of Slauson, where the carpool lane is blocked. Delays all the way from Rosecrans getting out of Norwalk. Now, let's also check out that situation on the 90 getting out of Marina Del Rey. This is eastbound just past the 405. That's where all lanes have been off limits, and they've been diverting traffic to the 405. Big delays away from Centinela, and let's also check out Alhambra. This is the 10 eastbound at Santa Anita Avenue. A wreck in the left lane sends you back from New Avenue with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Young Kim backs President Trump 100%.
False. Liberal Young Kim opposed President Trump's immigration policy, voting to protect convicted criminal illegal immigrants from deportation. And Kim voted to force businesses to open transgender bathrooms, allowing men with our daughters. And Kim voted to censure President Trump, but voted against censoring Adam Schiff. Anti-Trump, woke, liberal. That's the real Young Kim. Americans for Security PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by Americans for Security PAC.
Hi, this is Dave Roberts. Heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, that's a risk. That's why everyone needs a medical emergency kit at urgentcarekit.com/blue.
With iHeart, everything you hear is guaranteed human. That's why 78% of listeners trust their favorite radio host's product recommendations. If you manage a business or need to drive sales, that trust goes a long way. Call 844-844-iHeart. Again, that's 844-844-iHeart.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KRS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call Lear Capital for your free gold investment kit. 800-225-8100.
Think back. All those times you questioned everything and wondered why you didn't trust yourself. What if those thoughts could be eliminated? Truth is, those thoughts come from a hidden part of your mind. At a Dianetics seminar, you'll learn and apply powerful techniques to address the hidden source of your stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. It's hands-on, and you'll put the tools to work immediately. In just one weekend, you'll discover exactly how the mind works and increase your happiness and restore trust in yourself. A single weekend can change everything. Register today and take charge of your mental health. Go to Dianetics.org/seminar. That's Dianetics.org/seminar.
Gary and Shannon.
I'm surprised that people want to get rid of the gas tax. What are we going to do about the roads?
How the F does Kansas fix their roads? They don't have the gas tax. Oh, they just use the tax dollars that we already give them.
Tomorrow, 9 to noon on KFI AM 640.
The fact that people take that argument and they put a spoon in it and they effing eat it.
More stimulating talk.
No, it doesn't make any sense, Gary. And I may say a bad word.
Hello, I'm Robert Smigel. I did lots of things. Cartoons on SNL, Conan stuff, Triumph the Insult comic dogs, some movies. But now I'm past my peak. So I'm hosting a podcast, Humor Me with Robert Smigel and Friends. Each week, me and my favorite comedians, writers, and whatnots help regular people just like you, presuming you're regular, who have some project or task that they'd like us to help make funnier.
Search Humor Me on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Hey, it's Conway Show today after 6 o'clock. Pot store, retail. Guess what? They're coming after you for taxes. Yep, there's a store that didn't pay $7.1 million in sales tax, and I'll have all the details today after 6.
$1,000 giveaway now.
Now is your opportunity to win $1,000. Yeah! Just enter the nationwide keyword on our website. Fun. That's fun, F-U-N. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash. Brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
Fun. Enter that at KFIAM640.com/cash. And if you win, you'll get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. Listen to KFI. There's a winning keyword every hour, every weekday from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. And next chance to win is tomorrow morning on the Gary and Shannon Show in the 9 o'clock hour, 9:20 to be exact. John Kobylt Show here, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. And we're on till 6. After 6, the podcast, John Kobylt Show on Demand. And we are live on YouTube. So go to the John Kobylt Show channel and you subscribe by going to youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. We even have a live chat and we'll even read some of the comments from time to time. Now, this one, I want to go to war over, and I'm not making this up. Nithya Raman, remember, she's still on the city council. She wants to ban backyard barbecues during high fire danger days. She wants to stop us from barbecuing hamburgers and hot dogs on high fire days. Do you know that homeless people start 17,000 fires a year? And she allows them to live in encampments, and she allows them to live in the dry brush, and they start 17,000 fires. They started a fire that took down, that made the 10 freeway wobble. Remember a few years ago? Funny how that story disappeared. And how about the fire underneath the 110 freeway down towards San Pedro? Nobody stops them from having their grills. They start 17,000 fires that our fire department has to put out. She's done nothing to get those people off the streets, out of the brush, out of the tunnels. But she wants to stop me from having a hamburger in my backyard or on my patio. What a moron. Nithya Raman may be the stupidest woman I have ever seen or heard in my life. Highly educated, dumb as a box of rocks. She's below the Newsom line. She may be below the Ocasio-Cortez line. She introduced a motion yesterday. J.B. Page has this in the New York Post, directing city officials to examine emergency restrictions on grilling during red flag warning days. You know, like the day, that was the kind of day when Karen Bass flew to Africa. Yeah. They ask officials to consider possible limits on backyard barbecues, fire pits, and other open flames in residential neighborhoods. My barbecue has never started a wildfire. You know who starts wildfires? Homeless people. Because they have 17,000 fire. I don't understand. Why do homeless people get to start 17,000 fires a year and I can't cook a cheeseburger for my dinner? How can anybody live in this place? Why would you want to live in this place? They're going to ban your cheeseburger, but the guy down the block in front of your kid's school He can cook a rat or a squirrel or a cat or whatever those people eat. Fortunately, Monica Rodriguez, another council member, I'm losing my voice over this, blocked the proposal. And she says, we're not checking the weather for red flag conditions before planning a backyard barbecue. This is what families do. Birthday parties, family gatherings, carne asadas, a lot of people barbecue. Yeah, a lot of people barbecue. You know why? Because we have to eat in order to go to work and earn money, which the vagrants and the mental patients and the drug addicts don't do. They don't earn money. Oh, and then I'm supposed to give them free teeth. They get to have dinner. They get to broil their rat, have dinner, and then I'm giving them free teeth. You got that Karen Bass teeth clip again? Eric, the teeth clip. Get that back. Why won't she clear out the encampments where they have 17,000 fires, but she is going to police my backyard grill so I don't barbecue a cheeseburger? How could we possibly live with this woman? And she's running for mayor and she's got 20% of the vote. How does this happen? Play the Karen Bass thing.
How many people who are unhoused that you meet have no teeth at all? They don't have teeth. Why? Because meth rots your teeth. You can't succeed without teeth. So there needs to be comprehensive health care provided to people.
How could they bite into their barbecued rat without teeth? So we got one lady running for mayor who wants to give free teeth to the meth addicts, and we pay for it. The other lady wants to ban our backyard barbecues. Now the homeless people can have their grills hot and running, and they get free teeth from us. We don't get to eat. We don't get to have our barbecue. And they're two of the top three candidates running for mayor. And there's like 50% of the city willing to vote for the two of them. I got to get out of here. I just can't take this anymore. What is I don't know how to argue about it. I don't know what to say. What do you say other than the obvious? Well, I feel like I sound like an idiot pointing out the obvious. Nithya Raman. Okay, we're going to war. If this thing comes back, we're going to war. This is it. Time to get the tomatoes out. Ooh, does that sound violent? In for Deborah Mark, it is Brigida DiAgostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Dozens of people across the U.S. are being monitored following the hantavirus outbreak linked to a Dutch cruise ship. ABC's Victor Oquendo says the list now includes people who were never even on the ship.
Overnight in Kansas, 3 people were transferred to the hospital for observation after officials say they had high-risk exposure to an infected person while abroad. The 3 were not passengers on the ship.
An American who initially tested positive for hantavirus has now been cleared, and doctors say the original test may have been a false positive. A pro-Palestinian Jewish group says L.A. trumped up charges against anti-war protesters.
If Not Now says its mission is a vision of Judaism without weapons. The group says L.A. City Attorney Heidi Feldstein-Soto has targeted the group for its pro-Palestine activism, including criminal charges against people demonstrating against Israel's occupation and bombing of Gaza in 2024. The group's calling for the release of communication from Feldstein-Soto after whistleblowers in her office accused her of prosecutorial bias against Palestine solidarity activists without following proper law enforcement procedures. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
A judge has denied Scott Peterson's latest move to overturn his murder convictions.
In a 116-page decision, the San Mateo County Superior Court judge denied all 14 of Peterson's claims. This was Peterson's 3rd attempt to challenge his conviction for the 2002 murders of his wife Lacey and their unborn son. Peterson filed his latest petition last August. It included a claim of actual innocence and many of the same arguments he's made since he was convicted in 2004. His defense team has vowed to challenge the ruling. Mark Ronner, KFI News.
CIA Director John Ratcliffe met with Cuban officials today, including Raul Castro's grandson, during a high-level visit to the island. The CIA says Ratcliffe delivered a message from President Trump that the U.S. is open to talks on economic and security issues, but only if Cuba makes major reforms. We'll check the 91 freeway next.
Is it time to sell your home? Maybe you want to downsize or move, or you inherited a home that you don't want. Whatever the reason, you call Seller's Advantage. They've been buying homes for decades. They buy with cash, as is. They close in days. You don't have to spend money on repairs or preparing your home to be shown or have people come in and out. That's all a pain in the neck. It's time to sell your home. You call Seller's Advantage. Buy it for cash, as is, for a free no-obligation offer. Call 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, sellersadvantage.com. Let's sing.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 0196-1658. Providence Realty DRE number 0191-5212.
Southland weather from KFI tonight, cloudy with lows in the 50s. It's 68 degrees in La Palma, 69 in Orange. We're going to a crash on the 91 in Anaheim Hills.
This one looks like a doozy. It's on the eastbound side coming up on Imperial Highway. 3 lanes are blocked. It looks like it's the 3 left. And lanes are jammed, getting away from just about the 57 freeway. It's a huge mess. Also affecting the 55, which is just slammed from the 73 all the way to 91. And that 241 toll road northbound slowing, not quite backing up from Santiago Canyon Road, but pretty close as you continue ahead to the 91. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Have you inherited a home and want to avoid the stress and hassle of selling? Call Wedgwood Homes first to discuss your options. Inheriting a home can be overwhelming. Probate paperwork, multiple heirs, property taxes, repairs, and maybe even an existing mortgage. With Wedgwood Homes, there's no need to clean or clear out the house and no repairs or updates. We buy as is and provide a fast, reliable, all-cash offer. No commissions, no hassle. The Wedgwood Homes team can guide you through the process with experts in probate, trusts, and shared inheritance. Wedgwood Homes' offer is firm with no strings and no last-minute price drops like other cash buyers. We can close in as little as 3 days or on your timeline. Avoid competing with new inventory and demanding buyers in the real estate market. Let Wedgwood Homes ease the process so you can help your family move forward. Call 800-307-2010 today for your no-obligation cash offer. That's 800-307-2010. 800-307-2010 or wedgwoodhomes.com. Southern California's trusted home buyer for 40 years.
Are you avoiding shorts or dresses because of your varicose veins? You find yourself covering up, feeling self-conscious about how your legs look? Don't wait another minute. West Medical can treat varicose veins in under an hour with no downtime. That's right. One simple call and a quick procedure can help you feel confident again. Most treatments are affordable and covered by PPO insurance. Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL today. That's 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL or go to westmedical.com.
I feel incredible because I called 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Chris Eppel, head of marketing for the Americas, Harman JBL, weighs in on the importance of audio.
It's been amazing over the last couple of years to see what's happened with audio. We've doubled our investment in the last 2 years in the audio space. We find it to be highly critical to our business.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
OPL Law, your advocates and your voice when you need it most. OPLLaw.com.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
This is Jacob Emrani. When you need help after an accident, I'm here for you.
Accident or injury, call Jacob Emrani. Call Jacob.
You're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology with top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need advanced hair. They've completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address all of them with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with the most experienced professionals. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of these breakthrough treatments. And get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one can offer anything like the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. It's where I address my hair loss, and I recommend you do the same. Now, it all starts with a free consultation. Call 844-333-HAIR. If you qualify, you're also going to get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Redefine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 844-333-HAIR, 844-333-HAIR, advancedhair.com.
The House Whisperer meets the Horse Gambler. Dean Sharp joins Tim Conway Jr. every Thursday evening at 7:20. More stimulating talk on KFI.
KFI. AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I'm thinking we need to go door to door with the deportation truck for American citizens. I'll explain that in a second here. It's the John Kobylt Show on every day, 3 to 6. After 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. We are live streaming on YouTube right now. Go to the John Kobylt channel on YouTube. You could subscribe to get notifications at youtube.com at John Kobylt Show. You can become a member. Soon we'll have member benefits as we try to head towards 10,000 subscribers. All right. I just told you, Nithya Raman, who is... she's in charge of the homelessness committee on the city council, and she is against moving any homeless encampment that's in front of a school. She's voted against every single request by every other council member, every time. And, of course, they all have propane grills, and they start fires several times a day, and 17,000 times a year, the fires get out of control, and the fire department has to come. She has done nothing about this. This is like the stupidest, most dangerous woman I've ever seen run for office, and she actually has a following, which is really, really frightening. Then a few minutes ago, I told you she said she wants to ban outdoor barbecues, backyard barbecues on high fire danger days. So you can't cook a hamburger or a hot dog or whatever the hell you cook on your grill. And I'm thinking, when has a wildfire started because of somebody's backyard barbecue? When has it ever happened? Has anybody ever had like a barbecue on their back patio and it started a wildfire? No, that doesn't happen. California Post just put it on their Twitter feed. And the first comment is from somebody who says, banning open flames during high-risk days makes sense. This is what I'm saying. There is no insane, progressive, socialist idea that you won't have somebody go, oh, yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. I'm for that. No. You never have to ban backyard grills. Never. No wildfires have started from backyard grills. Patio grills, no, none. Then there's this. Here's a report from Fox 11, Matthew Seedorf, on an RV homeless encampment that's right in front of a building for the Housing Authority of L.A. Listen to this.
Only feet from an administrative building for the Housing Authority of Los Angeles. Hello? More than a dozen RVs, cars, and buses now being used as encampments.
How long have you been out here?
In this spot, 3 months.
3 months?
Some sleeping here for months.
How long have you been here?
This time, a year.
Others even longer.
While you've been out here, has anyone come out and checked on you from the city or county?
Not this time.
Hamilton Avenue in Gardena, full of no parking signs.
Says no one can sleep within 1,000 feet of this building.
And this, posted 4 years ago, Section 4118, a city ordinance that's supposed to prohibit camping.
4118 is not being enforced, and right here is the Housing Authority. So why are these RVs out here?
This fence separating two very different realities. On this side, we've got people living in those RVs. And then on this side, they open up 25 parking spots every night for people to come in and legally sleep.
They're able to get dinner, case management services.
Is it at all related to the RVs that are parked right outside the gate?
No.
The Watts Labor Community Action Committee essentially borrows 25 parking spaces a night through LASA for registered guests to park and sleep here, each space costing about $40 a night, totaling around $365,000 a year. What's it like to see that there's other people in need right outside the fence?
Well, we talked to them many times, and they definitely have the opportunity to come out. There are times where they might come in and use the restroom or something like that, but they have chosen to stay outside.
Those not part of the safe parking program still right outside Hawkwa's gate, living in need. What does it say to have these right out their front door?
It says that we have a broken system. They're just like, well, it's my shift and I did what I could do and that's it. And then they go home.
County officials tell us tonight that they're aware of this issue and will be sending out outreach teams.
A broken system. Oh, it's the end of my shift. No, it's more lazy, stupid government workers who don't care. They can't get fired and they're living off our tax money. When we come back, did you notice during the debate last week, Spencer Pratt said the phrase supermeth, and people are going, well, what's that? Oh, that's no such thing. It's not a technical term, but it is a correct term in reality. And I'll explain to you what supermeth is. And apparently it is spreading all over LA. And that's why there are so many crazed, menacing, violent lunatics running around. And Nithya Raman and Karen Bass do nothing to stop it. In fact, the only time I ever heard Karen Bass bring up meth is when she suggested earlier this week that the meth addicts who've lost their teeth should get free teeth from the rest of us. Well, there's going to be, if she gets her way, we're going to be paying for a lot of teeth.
You can't succeed without teeth.
Succeed, right. All those people need is teeth. Nothing about getting them off the meth, or God forbid, stopping the meth from circulating through LA. But then you'd have to empower the police department, and she's a defunder, and so is Nithya Raman. They're defunders. Well, who else is going to stop the meth supply? Talk more about it coming up. In for Deborah Mark. It's I'm sorry I have to hear all this. I know you normally work on the weekends, and it's much more civilized.
Hey, get me out of there. It's great.
Brigida D'Agostino live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. President Trump and his Chinese counterpart are gearing up for a second round of talks tonight. LA Mayor hopeful Spencer Pratt is defending himself against criticism that one of his ads is misleading. And a man with an axe who allegedly targeted a couple in Orange County has been arrested. We'll check the 10 freeway next.
Here's a question. How many brokers does it take to insure your business? If you're like most business owners, the answer is too many. Multiple policies, multiple applications, no clear view of how it all fits together. When questions come up, it's not easy to get the clarity you need. SuperSure changes that. One broker for all your business insurance, backed by a team that works with you year-round, not just at renewal. And if you've ever stared at a policy wondering what it actually covers, SuperSure has a fine print facts tool that translates the legal jargon into plain English, so you know what's covered and what's not. And right now, you can go to supersure.com and get a full report on your current policies with no obligation. Find out if you're overinsured, underinsured, somewhere in between. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, and all your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com. That's supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Going to a crash on the 10 in Alhambra.
So this one, it looks like this wreck has just wrapped up on the 10. It was making your way along that eastbound side, Santa Anita Avenue. They should be clearing it out of the left lane, but delays are still backing up away from the 710 freeway. And we're also heading out to the drive in Glendale. A wreck has just been cleared out of lanes on the 134 eastbound before Pacific Avenue. And that drive loading up overall, getting away from Hollywood Way out of Burbank with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
This report is sponsored by Habit.
The $10 Gotta Have It meal deal. Swing by for half a Santa Barbara char, a 5-piece chicken bites, your choice of a select side, and a drink. All for a fresh price. The $10 Gotta Have It meal deal. Habit. Fresh like that. Limited time only. Price and participation varies. Tax extra. Terms at habitburger.com.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that there are lots of things that can make your engine light come on, besides your engine. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's technicians are specially trained to diagnose what's causing your engine light to come on and fix it, no matter what it is. Keep your eyes on the road and your ears open for another episode of AMCO's Bet You Didn't Know.
AA MCO. Check engine light on? We'll check it for free. Restrictions, limitations, and exclusions may apply. See AMCO.com for complete details.
AMCO, with over 40 centers serving Southern California.
Here's a question for all the plumbing, HVAC, and electrical contractor owners out there from your future friends at Service Titan. Are you using 4, 5, 6, or more software solutions to run your commercial contracting business, not one of which truly understands the unique challenges of your industry? If this hits close to home, we have good news. There's a better way to do things. Service Titan is the all-in-one software solution that seamlessly integrates all parts of your commercial service and construction operation. From service agreements to proposal builders to project tracking, job costing, inventory, and more. Developed specifically for the trades, Service Titan can help you scale effortlessly and operate more efficiently while delivering the modern user experience your customers expect. Forget using and, more importantly, paying for multiple software products that don't play nice with each other and give you an incomplete view of profitability. Service Titan is the better way to do business. Schedule a demo today at servicetitan.com. That's servicetitan.com.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. This Memorial Day, American Vision Windows brings expert craftsmanship and big savings to your home. Get 25% off all windows and doors, a real upgrade to your comfort, your curb appeal, and utility savings. They've installed over 1 million windows and get most jobs done in just one day. But hurry, this offer ends May 31st. Visit AmericanVisionWindows.com or call them at 888-686-8249. New customers only. Some restrictions apply. Call or see the website for details. Offer ends May 31st.
Therapy Thursday is now a podcast. Listen to me, Ellen Kay, Ryan Mano, and therapist Sarah Dash on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Therapy Thursday, the podcast.
Call Lear Capital for your free gold investment kit. 800-225-8100. Is your back or front yard the best part of your home? Well, it can be if you call System Pavers. And I've used them for paved driveways, synthetic turf, landscape lighting, because they simply do it right. No dead grass, no cracked concrete, no we'll fix it later projects that don't get fixed. And they don't just stop at making things look good. They build out full outdoor living spaces, barbecue islands, fire features, water features. Here's what happens. Your friends come over, take one look, and suddenly, oh, I want to do something similar. No, that just means they're jealous. And through May 30th, System Pavers is offering free demolition and removal of your existing concrete, brick, or asphalt, and you get a recycling credit applied to your new project. Call 800-PAVE-004, 800-PAVE-004. Visit systempavers.com/KFI, systempavers.com/KFI. Website for full offer details, contractor's license 661575.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
On the next Bill Handel Show, infrastructure for the future requires that these data centers be built, but 70% of people don't want them built in their backyard. It's a NIMBY. What's the solution? That's coming up tomorrow morning after 7 on the next Bill Handel Show.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It is the John Kobylt Show, and we are on every day from 3 to 6. The podcast will be released shortly after 6 o'clock in just a few minutes. And we're finishing up on YouTube here. Go to the John Kobylt channel, youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show if you want to subscribe. And this will be recorded and posted in its entirety in just a few minutes. Also, if you'd like, you can watch me. I was a guest on my wife's video podcast, Deborah Kobylt Live. Deborah Kobylt Live, also on YouTube. And you could watch that as well. We talked about the mayor's race and the governor's race. And not only you could hear what I think, you could hear what she thinks. I mean, I have to hear what she thinks. You should too. Spencer Pratt, during the debate last week, said the phrase supermeth. And people have been buzzing ever since. What is supermeth? And his point was, the DEA says 93% of homeless people have severe drug problems. Is that not true? Again, use your eyes. I saw a study from UCLA a few years ago that nearly 100% of the street people, it was drugs or mental illness. And in most cases, both. Mental illness leads to drugs. Drugs leads to mental illness. Virtually and that is true in my experience. I've been seeing these vagrants run amok for 10 years. It's not a lack of housing. We all found a place to live. And what Pratt is saying is that it's the Supermeth. Now, I read a story today that the meth is much purer than it used to be. An extremely high concentration. Methamphetamine is a stimulant that increases your heart rate, respiration, and body temperature. That's according to the DEA. And too much can cause convulsions, cardiovascular collapse, stroke, or death. Supermeth is P2P meth. That's short for phenyl 2-propanone methamphetamine. The meth has traditionally been made from ephedrine and pseudoephedrine, which you can get in over-the-counter cold medications. That's why when I want to get a Sudafed for my cold, I've got to show them my driver's license. In fact, they take a photo or a scan of my driver's license, and it goes into a database so I don't go to another drugstore down the block the same day and buy another one. But what researchers have found in new meth starting in 2021 is that the ephedrine and the pseudoephedrine were swapped out for phenyl 2-propanone, a new ingredient. Supermeth became cheaper and easier to produce. It is now 97% pure methamphetamine. Under the old model, it was 75 to 80%, and that's according to Terry Church, director of the Institute for Addiction Sciences at USC. 97%. So when the meth addicts take a hit, and remember, we pay for their meth pipes. Karen Bass has a contract with a nonprofit to hand out the meth pipes. They put the meth in the meth pipes, they snort it, their high can last 24 hours. Twice as long as the old style meth. Old style meth, 75% pure, 97% new style meth. Of course, they're going to die sooner. Brain damage, liver damage. Hey, brain damage, gee, is that why they run around screaming and acting like a lunatic and menacing and threatening? They're all brain damaged. They're zombies. They've hollowed out their heads. Maybe Nithya Raman's on it. Talk about a hollowed out head. People become addicted to it and become long-term users. The only time I ever heard Karen Bass talk about meth was Monday, when she said that meth addicts lose their teeth and we have to buy them new teeth. Taxpayer-paid teeth for the meth addicts.
You can't succeed without teeth.
This is what we're living in here. She is scolding us that we have to pay for new teeth for the meth addicts, while Nithya Raman is trying to keep me from having a hamburger on my backyard grill. In 2021, methamphetamine accounted for nearly 3/4 of the drug seizures in the LA high-intensity drug trafficking area program. Spiked in 2021 when they got this new version of pure meth. They don't do anything about it. And then they let them have the propane grills and they let them start the fires. I'm not on meth. I go to work. You go to work. We can't have backyard grills. And I have to pay for their teeth. Is this going to stop? No, really, is it ever going to stop? I keep saying this, but it's got to stop. What's wrong? This is progressive socialism, and it's a cult. Honestly, think about all your life. Imagine walking into a room at any time in your life, whether you were living here or any other city, any other state. You walked into a room, told all your family and all your friends, I think we should let people live in the streets snorting meth until they fry their brains. And then we'll buy them new teeth after they fall out. And I don't think we should be, and I think they should be allowed to have open flame grills in the street, but I don't think we should have our backyard patio barbecues working when there's a high fire danger. They can, we can't. They're on meth, we're not. We're working, they're not. They have teeth, we have to give them new teeth. That is the sum total of the Karen Bass, Nithya Raman agenda. And there's about half the city right now willing to vote for the two of them.
You can't succeed without teeth.
All right, I've hit a wall here. I'm going to hit a wall. I'm at a loss. I'm out of ideas. I'm out of words. I'm out of time. Conway's up next. And Crozier's got the news. Live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.